What's up, man?
Not too much. First episode. Thanks for having me on.
This is, of course. No, I appreciate you coming in.
No big deal. I've always wanted to get into something like this, so I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. So for those of you listening for the first time, my name is Rob O'Boyle, and this is my first podcast, and I'm here with my boy. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Josh Frankel, and me also. First podcast.
Yeah.
Big things.
So I don't know if you want to tell anybody how we met, how we know each other.
Oh, well, we work in this office.
Probably don't want to give the name or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit specific.
Not going to want to drop that on social media.
Well, I don't want us to get fired or anything like that.
Yeah, that's always a good thought to have. But Rob and I work together in an office with a bunch of characters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of characters.
That's one way of saying it. So we clearly understand where the office, the sitcom, came from.
Yeah. That's and then some.
Basically, if you just picture that sitcom, I mean, every single character, we understand where the inspiration came from.
Well, we're gonna go into a little bit more detail.
How much detail do you want to get into on this one?
I think if people understood the kind of stuff that we see on a regular basis.
Yeah, like I understand people have crazy aspects of their job, and like there's some weird nonsense you might deal with, but I mean, I think we pretty much have reached the upper echelon of that category.
Yeah. So let's start with.
Well, I don't want to drop any names.
Well,
here.
we won't drop names, of course, but I think we all know who we're talking about.
Oh my God, yeah, we got like 3 or 4 characters. I mean,
let's just go right to the biggest offender on this one.
Pants Lady?
Pants Lady, yeah.
Yeah, I think she
Split.
has...
We just call her Split now, right?
Yeah, Split. It moved on from Holes.
Oh, moving on from Holes?
Yeah. No. So, yeah, unfortunately, we do have a woman who's in our office who decided, or I don't know how she decided this, but she has a big old rip in her pants, and she's been wearing the same damn
She's been wearing the same clothes since day one, and she's probably been working there 4 months now?
Something in that window, yeah. I still can't believe
So we'll give a little description on her. She's an Indian girl, but American.
I mean, that's not a big deal.
No, but just so people have an idea. She's about 31, I think.
Something like that.
So she's an adult. She's definitely an adult. She should be
definitely
aware of all the
adult,
social
yes.
norms. You know, how to be professional, all that. But it's possible she might have some mental shortcomings.
I mean, I don't really know. I don't really talk to her at all, other than like
nobody really talks to her. She talks to herself though a lot.
Yeah,
that's one
true.
of the things.
She
likes to smile a lot. She likes to run a lot.
That's
she sprints everywhere. She wears this giant black furry hat.
Oh my God! I literally went to the post office the other morning, and I had to drop off a letter. It's like 10 to 9 in the morning. She's literally just on the sidewalk across the street, just glaring at me.
That's what she does. I
looked at her. I'm like, hello. She just no reaction whatsoever. Just
every time I see her coming out, she just puts her head down and sprints down the end to the end of the block. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But of course, back to where we started. She's been wearing the same clothes.
Yep.
Since she started.
One pair of pants and 2 shirts.
Pair of pants.
I mean, I don't know her background circumstances, but
she drives a Lexus.
Yeah,
that's what I've been saying. I've said this a million times. She drives a freaking Lexus, but can't afford a second pair of pants. All right, this is an issue. This is a serious issue.
I don't.
But it's not just the same clothes. As you said, she's got a tear in it the size of Mexico. I mean, both of her ass cheeks are hanging out at this point. All right?
Every single day, it actually has gotten a little bit bigger, a little bit
exactly.
bigger.
I can tell what color underwear she's wearing now.
Oh,
all right, I don't need X-ray vision.
I'm not Superman. That one. But it's to the point where it's like we keep having new people in the office, not because of like the turnover, but because the place is just getting bigger and bigger. And literally, as they bring people in, it's like, how do you mask that?
Right.
I mean,
she's like a human stapler. She's walking around grabbing her own ass, trying to clinch the thing so nobody can see.
Yeah, and
she stands at the printer with her legs crossed.
And you know what the worst part is? Literally, you look out the door of my office, and that's exactly what I'm looking at is the printer. It's right there. So every time she goes past my office, it's like.
Well, you can hear her walking too, because she stomps. She stomps around every step.
Everywhere.
And she actually has gotten better. It's funny. She traded one thing for another. The first couple months she used to walk without any shoes.
Yeah, I think that is like a cultural thing for her being Indian. But I'm sorry, if you're gonna work in an office in America, then you kind of have to understand. Yes, it's etiquette to wear shoes.
And she's like, well, you know what? I have to put shoes on now, but I still want to show some skin. So let me create a giant hole in my ass.
I just don't get it though. I mean, she even like would walk through the kitchen and stuff like that barefoot. I'm like, lady.
And she's a savage. Yeah, whenever there's food in there, I told you, she literally almost knocked me out of the way to grab a garlic knife. I'm grabbing some salad, and out of nowhere, excuse me, and she hits my elbow, like grabs like two
like
garlic knots and runs out.
She's like a freaking ninja. And like the other day, one of our coworkers was given a piece of Reese's chocolate by another weirdo that we're gonna get into in a minute.
Yes.
But like literally, she came running out of her office like, "Can I have that?" It's like, sure, I guess. Here you go.
There's some people like whenever there's something free, you know, they gotta have it. Whatever, you know, they don't like care where it's been. You know, if it's wrapped or unwrapped, they don't care if it's melted. You know, whatever. You know, it's like, oh,
yeah,
I can have that.
That's absolutely true, actually.
And so, yeah, you brought him up already. Again, we're not naming any names here.
You know something, and him also, like, I don't know if there's something there, but, like, he's a fully functioning adult. He has a wife and kids. But
well, again, they're functioning adults. The word fully, you know, might elude them. But I had never really seen him, like, laugh until I made a joke. So there's multiple characters here in our office who are just, I don't know, there's no word to describe. They're socially challenged, right? They're socially awkward.
Yeah,
so
basically.
There's another guy who sits right outside the office of this other guy, and okay, so we'll call them A and B. So B,
yes.
He has he likes to bring car fresheners into his little cubicle.
Yeah. Okay,
and
switching it up a bit.
The little Christmas tree car fresheners.
Yep.
And so he has a little snow globe. And he has his lamp, and he puts the lamp like directly on top of the snow globe for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know something? I thought it was
snow
like
globe needs to get sunlight to grow. I don't know what he's thinking. If it's like a plant, and I don't know. But he puts the car air freshener on the lamp, all right, and then stinks up the whole freaking office. So it smells like a Christmas market. So I was walking by, and I'm like, God, why does it stink over here? And I was like, it smells like Christmas. And I said, it smells like the Grinch's asshole in here. And he just laughed so hard. The guy behind me, the guy who, it's not his air freshener, the other weirdo, he's sitting behind me. He laughed so hard. He's like slamming his desk. I had never seen him laugh before. It was so weird.
He's got that disingenuous businessman, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that vibe, right? No, but this was a real laugh. Like he like pounded the table, like it was so. And I whipped around to look in his eyes, and it was just the creepiest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Yeah. I didn't know he could laugh, but
you know something. It's like you're better off just trying not to make him laugh because he will keep bringing that up. He'll catch you in conversation, whether you're in the kitchen or in the hallway or whatever, and it's just like.
Now
I can't even fake it with that dude anymore. Like he speaks to me, I'm just like, yep.
Again, he's got some other. He has the worst body odor I've ever smelled in my life.
And it's been like 4 or 5 years.
It's like a drive-by shooting whenever that guy walks by. I mean, seriously, he takes you out. I mean, the senses, everything just goes haywire. You feel like you blacked out for a minute. You feel like you just got hit in the face. You're like, oh, where am I? You staggering around.
I've seen people literally, like, as he's talking to them, like, taking steps backwards, to, like, trying to get away from him because you know that, like, they're catching a whiff of it, too.
Right. It's again, the body, it's the dandruff. It's just the weird social norms.
Again, it's like, you know you're going to work in an office. I mean, it's basic common courtesy, like, have hygiene standards. I mean, where did you think you're going in the morning? Like, what the hell
I always
goes
come back
through
to the
your
question, how did these people get hired? Like, when they came in for the interview, did they put on the greatest show, like, known on earth? Was it like Ringling Brothers? Did they just... like, how did they get through the door? How did you go? You know what? I like your quirkiness.
Again,
you're gonna fit right in.
I don't want to like speak badly of people.
No, of course
like,
not. Of course
I do have a theory that he probably, like, our company's probably getting a tax credit for keeping them employed because, like, you know something. We had somebody who used to work in our office about 14 months ago. Came back to visit just because they were in the area. Stopped into my office and was like, so does he actually do anything yet? I mean, he literally does not have a job. He just sits in his office and just
people don't even know. When the boss comes around with a new hire and she makes a stop at every little person, every little department, she comes to him. She goes, and this is so-and-so, and he, what do you do again? She asks them. And he just makes up some total BS answer. One time, she was actually like, and this is, person A, and we don't even know what he does exactly.
Basically, I mean, at one point, one of the people that works in my department, he had been working in the office for like 4 or 5 months, and he came to me one day, and he was like, so what does he actually do here? He literally didn't know, and I'm like, something, it's sad because this guy literally has been working for 5 years, and he doesn't.
Has he been there 5 years now?
I don't know. No, not 5 years, probably like 3.5, but still, I mean, he doesn't do anything. But who's the idiot here? Because, I mean, he's probably getting paid in the ballpark of what we're making.
I think he's doing better than what we're making.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't do anything. I mean,
what we're making is not enough to live on.
Yeah, I mean, but he's literally in the office like 15, 20 hours a week. Every time, like, I see this dude, he's literally just running to his car.
That's always. He's always leaving early. He's always, you know.
He's going
and
to
when he's there, he does like make calls and lick stamps.
He just answers calls from his wife. I mean, but literally he goes on his lunch break at like 11 in the morning, comes back at like 1:15.
Yeah.
And then leaves by 2 o'clock. He's like, I got my acid reflux. It's
He
acting up.
loves
It's
at the best part though. He's like I don't know. He's like a fruit whore or something like that. Okay, this guy
Yeah.
always has like 6 oranges, 7 apples on his desk, some kiwis, and he walks around and he's like, kiwi, orange. Can I interest you in some orange slices? Orange slices. And one time he came around with coupons. He's like, coupons? I got some coupons here for you. We're like, no.
He actually did that to me once too. He came up to me just randomly one like Thursday afternoon. Was like, "Here, I got you a page of Burger King coupons." I was like,
sweet Jesus.
I don't eat fast food, and I just wanted to end the conversation. So I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much." And
Oranges. Can I interest you in some fresh kiwis?
And he goes person to person,
Yeah, it's
to
literally
person, like
person to person.
cubicle to cubicle, and everyone says, "Nope, no, thank you, no, thanks, no, thanks, no, thanks," and he just
He
keeps
doesn't get
going.
the hint. He'll keep coming.
No.
And one time I think he came around with like 6-month-old candy that's been sitting in his pocket. Like whatever he finds, like he just reaches into his pocket. He's like, "What do I have today?" And there's like some lint next to the candy. And I'm like, "No, I don't want no." He's something special. And then
Yeah.
of course there's the person A or whatever you want to call him, the one with the car air freshener.
Oh yeah,
He's probably the scariest. In
Yeah.
terms of like, is he going to come in and shoot up the office and kill us all?
you know
He's the
something
one you worry
again.
about.
Like I feel like that's a very cynical topic, but I think a lot of people in offices probably in this day and age are probably having those thoughts. Like if anybody's gonna come in here blasting, I mean,
Yeah, unfortunately it's a real thing.
yeah, like it literally is a thing now where it's like you have to actually have these sick thoughts. But I mean, truth be told, I mean he's got one of those crazy tempers where it's like he flips out about the littlest things, and I'm just
He's
like,
always screwing up. He's always getting yelled at. And our coworker next to him actually says that she has on several occasions seen his fly open.
yes, that's
And she even went so far to say something else. I won't even go that far, but I
You know
don't know if I
something
believe
though, like,
that, but
it's
I wouldn't put it past him.
one of those
Let's
things
put it
where it's
that
like,
way.
how can you not notice it? I mean, it's just like I get if it happens like one day. I mean, shit. I mean, it's happened to everyone, but it's like it's pretty much like a weekly occurrence.
Just
where it's
say
like,
it happens.
dude.
It does
like-
happen, but with him,
And you know, so that's
you're
like,
like, okay.
that's only one aspect of his weirdness because I mean, you also, I mean,
It's- you
I
don't know
don't
where
know.
to start.
He has all kinds of makeup in his desk. He
Okay, right.
fucks
so
his
let's go there.
eyebrows at
Yes,
his desk. I mean,
so
I don't-
first off, but the best part is his hair is absolute shit, to put it nicely. It looks like a bird's nest. Okay,
I
there's
mean,
like
well-
bald spots. There's like, it looks like Medusa or some. I don't know. It's coming out every.
It's definitely a hairpiece. I mean,
Oh my! No,
It
he's not
is.
old enough for a hairpiece.
no, it's definitely a hairpiece, man.
He just wakes up, walks out of the house. Like I'm surprised he puts clothes on.
I can't believe if somebody was like going to have to choose a hairstyle to wear. I mean, why would you pick that one?
I don't think it was by choice. But that's the funny thing. His hair is absurd. But yes, he has makeup. He has tweezers. He has like several pairs of those little like scissors for cutting like nails.
Yeah, he has like one of those lights at his desk where like he's plucked his eyebrows out.
he's like he's giving himself like whatever you call it. I don't
if
know.
you want to do that in your own
facials over
time,
there.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
fine.
but
but it's like when you're
touch
sitting
your
in an
hair
office,
once in a
like,
while. Just go a little further up north and just some gel. I'll help you out, dude. Something, But he's also I don't know.
But
Yeah.
there's also like when he leaves in the afternoon, people have spotted him. Like I guess like he takes his hairpiece off in the summertime when
Are
it's
you
like super
joking right
hot.
now?
He'll wrap a towel around.
I've seen
his
the
head.
towel. Well, you're saying what do you mean takes his hairpiece off? What are you
I guess
saying
in the
right now?
summertime it gets too hot.
So
So
people have actually claimed that they've seen him without his hair.
nobody has actually seen him without his hair.
No, I'm telling you, it's
but,
real
like,
hair. Well, unless it's
I
like
don't
glued
buy
on, and that's why it's the
I don't
crappiest hair
buy
job in the world.
I do
come
not
on.
buy that that's real hair because even one of our coworkers like wound up 2 or 3 blocks from the office next to him one afternoon heading home. He had like one of those women's sun hats on because I guess he couldn't find anything else to throw on. I'm like, that's your disguise. Like, why would you willingly drive home with that?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't know, but I digress.
So is there anybody else? There's nobody else that's really too.
Oh, there's the one
crazy.
that you get the joy of sharing an office with.
Oh well,
Oh, yeah.
Jesus, she's just the cream of the crop, isn't it? She's a special lady. Shout out to no. What's it? So yeah, I share an office
Yeah.
with this. What is she? 70, 75-year-old.
You know something? I feel like she's one of those people who she's like 45, 50, but she gives off like
she's
75, 80.
No. And just stress dinner in. No. She's got to be at least 70, and she's just the sunshine of my life.
I can only imagine.
She wears the same. She wears a lot of the same clothes every day. Okay, we don't all have $1 million, but she likes to wear her teddy bear sweatshirt. That's a favorite of hers.
No, she is definitely a fashion
She
icon.
has some seriously bad social habits. So yeah. I told her she likes to burp without any provocation. She likes to fart every once in a while.
You came into my office yesterday, literally like, I gotta get out of
over
here.
And you just hear burp. I'm like, all right, that's fantastic.
Does she do the?
Oh yes, after she relieves herself of some kind, you just hear, it's like burp. You're like, oh, that's fantastic. That's what I need.
Like, thanks. I'm gonna go take a walk.
Yeah, that's what I do every time I walk out. I'm just like, I gotta get out of here.
I'm gonna go with Lady A and go take a stroll around the neighborhood because that's what she does too. I mean, she just picks up and goes wandering. So.
Yeah. And every time she eats a yogurt, she's got to get every freaking piece of yogurt in there. She puts her fingers in there and then just licks them off one by one.
Eats like a child. Again, it's like you're sitting in an office. Like, where do you think that you are? I mean,
she has a temper though too. Like, you think she's a sweet old lady with a freaking teddy bear on a roller coaster on her shirt, and then
I
she
had
will
no
drop
idea
an F-bomb like you don't even know.
You know something? Like, I've worked with her for 4.5 years, and literally I had no idea that she had a temper like that until one day, like one of our other coworkers who loves to push people's buttons. I mean, she pushes people's buttons, but she was in her office just like pestering her, and she's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm too fucking busy. I can't fucking deal with this goddamn shit. I was just, what the hell? Where did that come from?
Every time before she picks up the phone now, she's got to be like, motherfucker. I can't get anything done. Yeah, and she was even kind of yelling at the boss the other day. She came in and she's like, the boss comes in. She's like, I need something, right now. And she's like, I can't do it. I'm doing everything. You can't have me doing any more than I'm already doing. I'm like, all right, take it easy.
Take
it easy.
Like I said, it's a cast of characters, but then that's just like our suite of the office. I mean, there's a whole another suite to touch on when you get across the hall.
Yeah, but they're much better.
Yeah,
they're a little more sane.
I mean,
there's some weirdos in there, but
actually, yeah, I guess that's true when you compare it.
Trust us, somehow they stuck all the freaks and geeks with us.
It's like, you want your own office, you want a window. Yeah, well, this is what you're gonna have to deal with. I mean, it just.
All right.
I guess we really can't complain.
I think we've beaten a dead horse there, and we'll leave him alone.
I do feel like that's a topic that a lot of people probably would relate to. I mean, craziness in the office, but we actually could just put a candid camera one day and it would go viral. But I don't want to do that to certain people.
No, don't do that.
I'm pretty sure there was a lawsuit about something to that extent a while ago.
There was
that playmate who literally spotted an old woman in the gym and like took a picture of her.
She was called out for fat shaming or something like that.
Like, if I can't unsee this, then neither can you.
Right. I thought it was hilarious. I thought that made a ton of sense. Well, that actually brings me to another topic. I told you I posted about some chick who said she needs to eat more. And the next thing I know, I'm getting all these comments. Skinny shaming is the same as fat shaming, and so rude.
Well, I mean, that actually can be a topic. I mean, in terms of what that playmate did, I mean, if you put that out there on social media, you're asking to get sued. You just really are. But I mean, dropping one comment on an Instagram photo, I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, look, all right, I posted on this person's public page, so you have a right to comment on it, but just the skinny... Are we really living in this world where do people actually believe that when they say that? I don't think they do. I think their minds have just been so warped. When they say something like skinny shaming is fat shaming, I don't think that they don't believe it.
I think certain
They're just
people...
so crazy. Like, they've been fed so much of this crap by the media and other people. I don't think they actually believe it. Their minds have just become warped. They don't know the truth. Because come on.
Yeah, and in a sense, people actually they just want to pick fights sometimes with people.
I mean,
if it's on the internet, I mean, if it's in real life, people really will go out of their way to kind of just like not get, just avoid conflict.
Right, they're much more.
When it comes to
the
internet, I mean, it's like people just like they go after each other in the comments. That's my favorite part of the news.
At a table behind a computer, nobody can touch them, so they can say whatever they want. They don't care how vulgar. What do they care?
That's literally my favorite part of like reading news articles now. I just go right to the comment section and just watch people sniping at each other. It's like you're fighting with a stranger on the internet. Like, you're posting like paragraphs long.
Well,
I'm
that's insane. To be honest, though, I catch myself doing that every once in a while, but then I'll be like,
I'm
Jesus,
sitting
I
over
gotta
here
reel
like
it in.
shaming on this. You're like, yeah, sorry, that was me.
I get it. That's why the internet's the worst. That's why social media is the worst, because it's such an impulse. That's what I'm saying. It feeds your worst impulses, and that's why so many celebrities and stuff, they get in trouble because you type something in the heat of the moment and then you can't take it back.
Yeah, that actually does happen quite often.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
There was a point in time where like obviously it happens to politicians and whatnot, but baseball players, there was a little while there where like they were going back and people, somebody was finding like this baseball player's history from like 15 years ago when he was like 12 years old.
Oh yeah, like you posted like some racist comment.
Yeah, it happened
like
to Josh
16.
Hader. Not that anybody's gonna know his name, but Sonny Gray. But Josh Hader, he was like the first, and he got it the worst. They actually sent him to like mandatory diversity training. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
are you kidding me?
I guess
Dude.
Once again, it's like if you put that out there on the internet, I mean, you're asking for something to happen.
Yeah,
but I mean,
like
at 17,
years, right?
yeah,
whatever it
like,
was, it's insane. And that's
he's
just
a
people.
kid at that
Don't people
point,
have
so-
lives though? Who's going back that far to be like, you know what, I'm gonna get this person?
Haters. That's who's
haters,
doing it. Haters and marks.
I
That's who's
I
doing it.
appreciate their diligence, but I mean, because I wouldn't have the patience to do something like. But it's insane. I mean, was the world always like this? Do you think it was always like this?
Something, I think it probably was to an extent, but in like the recent years with all the social media out there, I think people have just gotten a heightened awareness of it.
Well, that, and I think also people had to worry about like dying 100 years.
They had bigger problems.
Yeah,
to worry
they had to
about.
make sure the soil was okay to farm.
Let me make sure my kid doesn't get polio. Like,
right,
like
exactly.
actual problems.
I gotta build a fence here so when the Vikings come over, they don't slaughter my whole family.
Well, I guess even like in this day and age, I mean, if you're in a different country, I mean, a different scenario, I mean, if you have to worry like you're food insecure or something like that, I mean, shit, you're not worrying about people sniping at each other on the internet.
Right. Well, it is spreading though, and obviously as those third world countries become more developed. But no, you're right. You're absolutely right. They don't give a crap about the skinny shaming.
It's like, listen, I'm trying not to get eaten by hippopotamuses
Right.
or get like
There you go.
malaria. I'm trying to actually have food.
Right.
I don't want to drink dirty water. I hope my kids can go to school one day. So.
Well, actually, that was it was an article I'd read in a while. It was like actually a long time ago, at college for some course. But talking about postmodernism, I'm sure you heard the term postmodernism.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we have. We always liberal. You know what Jordan Peterson is?
You have to tell me.
Oh, okay. Well, he was that guy. A few years back, he's a teacher at the University of Toronto, and he's like I think he does like psychology. And he's a lifelong psychologist, and taught at University of Toronto for many years. And basically, Canada, I think this was like 2016, maybe I want to say, decided to try to pass a law that said you now they were mandating speech basically. So if you now had to refer to a person in the pronoun that they preferred, and so right, and so usually the pronouns have been he and she, right, because there's only two genders.
Yeah.
And so in Canada, the liberal woke bastion that they are, decided that for I guess the trans community, they maybe they protest whatever, they pushed it, and so they signed into law these like 37 new pronouns, and you basically had to, if someone wanted you to refer to them as shizit or is or whatever, I don't know what their pronouns are, you had to do that. Otherwise, you could not only be fined but jailed.
I'm gonna have to actually do my research on this
I
because
forget the name of it now.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. If that actually made it into law.
No, it was an actual law. It still is an actual law.
I mean, I can understand if like somebody wants to be identified whatever gender they want to be identified as, but if it's like you're just gonna start making up like different pronouns, like listen, no, I want you to refer to me as this.
New York
now.
State says that there's 100 different genders. Right now, it says there's 100 different genders.
Okay, I'm about as liberal as they come. I side with a lot of liberal topics.
I had a feeling
but
you
I
might
mean,
be.
yeah, but I mean, like 100 different genders. How's that possible?
That's
that
one of the
can't
questions
be.
he was asking. Well, his biggest problem, again, because I've listened to him quite a bit, is that it's not. He's okay with hey, if you're a nice person and you say, hey, look, I would like maybe I'm transitioning or whatever. Could you please refer to me as whatever? I don't know, is or what? He might do it out of the kind of if you're a good person and you seem sincere. But he didn't like the fact that they were mandating speech. You have to say this.
Oh,
because it's literally like the first time in
Well, I mean, it's
in the Western world that you had to say something. Now, there's been instances, of course, things you can't say, but never forcing you to have to say something.
Well, I mean, there's also scenarios where it's like you might make a mistake on what they actually identify as. I mean, you're gonna like criminalize somebody for that.
And
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
It's like you could actually just be making a mistake, not trying to be an asshole.
Right, and they could sue you for then that's the world we live in. Oh, you called me a Cheez-It instead of a Whiz-It or whatever. I'm going to sue you. And so in about 2016, he stood out the University of Toronto, outside of the University of Toronto, and he made an impassioned speech, and about how this is wrong and all that. And of course, out of the woodwork comes
someone who was offended by it.
Not just someone, a whole lot of people. Yeah. They hate him. He's gotten death threats. They said he was a transphobe. He's transphobic or whatever.
Well, once again, that's also something that, I mean, if you're going to be, any type of famous, whether it's on the internet or just famous in general, movies, TV, I mean, music, I mean, you're just going to have people that just straight up hate you.
No, there's always going to be
I can only imagine what you guys,
there's always going to be a certain amount of hate. But this was like, this is always a different level because politics have just become so personal nowadays. People take it so personally, and so long story short, it ends up catapulting him to fame.
Gives him a bigger venue
he has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He's got all
subscribers
these videos.
Triple overnight.
He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast. That's actually really what made him even more famous.
Yeah, actually,
Joe Rogan loves him too, and I listened to a lot of his talks. He gives lectures and all that, and he's written books. And one of his latest books, I think, was I forget the name of it, but it's basically 12 ways. Basically about 12 different ways that you can be a man. To get your life in order.
Different stereotypes, or just
no, just how to get your life in order. Because this is one of the big things he does. He's looking at the landscape of the world, and he sees a lot of men who are struggling. And now his message is to men and women, so he doesn't actually just specifically gear it towards men, but it's basically like, I think one of the rules is like clean your bed or clean up your room or something like that. Well, basically the idea behind it is that if you have a clean room, that's kind of a physical manifestation of cleaning up your life, having your life in order, and there's definitely some connection between, having a clean house, and being a person who's, you're going to be clean out in the real world. You're going to have, you're going to be dressed well. You're going to,
it transfers to other areas of your life.
Right. It's just sort of this physical manifestation of how you are mentally. So but yes, he's just been, they've attacked him at every turn. He had to go before Congress and Parliament, whatever, in Canada, and speak on this issue, and he's been attacked left and right. But it's, again, like I said, it's made him more and more famous.
It gave him a bigger platform.
Right. And he works with a lot of women in his field. But of course, him and do you know Brett Weinstein is? I won't go down that road then. But he was a guy at Evergreen State who basically the kids at Evergreen State decided there was going to be like a colored only day. Only colored people, or people, minority students, could be on campus that day. No white people had to stay home. And he's Jewish, and he's like, no. So he showed up at campus. First of all, he's a teacher there.
Yeah, I mean, what, are you gonna arrest him?
So like a mob of like 100 people, 100 students, got in his face, verbally attacked him, screaming at him, cursing at him, and they actually, I don't want to say they fired him, but they ended up basically blaming all the guilt on him. They put it all on him. He ended up getting compared to Hitler. So is the other guy, Jordan Peters. They've all been compared to Hitler. That's where you go naturally. That's a natural extension of things, unfortunately.
I mean, actually, that's kind of fucked up in the sense because a lot of people do get compared to people like Hitler and Stalin, and it actually desensitizes people to what they actually did and just how fucked up. Of course, and
I'm glad you mentioned Stalin, actually, because unfortunately he's the one who kind of escapes a lot of this.
I mean, he killed Hitler. Just as many people.
He killed more. Killed more. I mean, the gulags.
Believe it or not, I actually just got back from Israel about a month ago, and literally they tell you at the Holocaust Museum. I mean, it's a topic that I've actually researched a bunch, but I mean, Stalin's position on the Holocaust was, hey, don't divide the dead. The Soviet people have suffered just as much at the hands of the Nazis as the Jewish people, so... I mean,
right. I mean, if not more.
Literally, I mean, you're right. He does kind of fly a little bit under the radar to anybody who's kind of
because...
just really not into history so much, anyone who's
Right.
got really a basic understanding probably should know that, yeah, this guy was fucking awful, too.
Well, right, because unfortunately, I think one of the things is that the far left, the so-called progressives, who are really, as Jordan Peterson likes to call them, neo-Marxist postmodernists, which is actually a conundrum in itself. But basically, the reason I think they like the hammer and sickle. Sometimes they fly it, like when you see these rallies and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the problem I think they're making is they associate socialism with communism. And so socialism, while it's really just an economic policy of how to proceed, where the state owns things. Communism is also the political, essentially, as well. And so a lot of them, they call themselves communists, right? I mean, Bernie Sanders, he's Democratic Socialist. He's really a communist. He'd be a communist if he could. If he could run as a communist, he would. So I think that, and so obviously Stalin, the godfather, well, really Lenin is, but Stalin, one of the other godfathers of communism. And so that's why they escape that whatever you want to call it, that, they don't use his name. It's not synonymous like the way Hitler is with evil. Stalin seems, and Mussolini is another guy,
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure actually he's one that everybody still associates in this day and age as, yeah, he was pretty fucking awful too. I mean, he probably didn't, go as far as, Hitler and Stalin, but he certainly had his hand in helping Jewish people being rounded up in Italy and being sent off to a lot of the camps.
Right.
That whole topic is just so fucking morbid. Yeah, I can't wait until I go to Poland in April. That's going to be just a joyous trip to take.
Was that sarcasm?
No, I'm going April 20th. I'm heading over. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to see, Auschwitz and Treblinka and Birkenau and a whole bunch of these camps. It's going to be a heavy trip, but something that I want to see. So
that you're going specifically there for those things?
Yeah, there's this thing. It's called March of the Living. It's basically like a lot of Jewish organizations get people over to.
It's a heck of a name, March of the Living.
They get it over to Poland, and there's this walk from Auschwitz to Birkenau or to Treblinka. It's the camp where the most Jews were killed during the Holocaust. But basically, it's like almost like, hey, we're still here. One of those like prideful moments.
Right.
There's a aspect of the trip where it like coincides with Independence Day in Israel. So like technically, you're supposed to go from Poland to Israel, and then there's another march. I signed up too late in the process, so I'm just doing the Polish half of it. But
can I come?
Yeah, come on by, man.
Is Bruce going, or what's his name? Barry? What was his name?
No, we're not even going to touch on that.
Come on. Just tell us real quick.
No, because you know something. Right. I don't want people that are listening to even get into this.
Fair enough. Sorry. I apologize. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't want to get too much on that topic because it is heavy.
Yeah,
but
we're trying to get this podcast going, and we're just going to be depressing people. Like, we're just talking about the Holocaust and like terrible office scenarios.
It was just the 75th anniversary.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
right? So it's relevant.
Actually, a few weeks ago, it was
not even. I think it was like 1 week, right?
Yeah, President Macron and Putin, a whole bunch of different people were there. But actually, since we're on the topic of Poland, the Polish president did not go to Israel to celebrate Holocaust Remembrance Day. It was a very notable absence, but literally there's a lot of geopolitics that are going around where Putin's really trying to reframe Russia's role in the Second World War and trying to almost sweep the fact that, you did sign deals with Nazi Germany and with Imperial Japan.
Yeah, at the beginning
he's
of
trying
the war,
to sweep it under the rug and change the narrative
of the Germans, and they had an armistice not to shoot each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, it was only once Hitler decided to invade Moscow because he didn't learn his lesson
he never
from
made
Napoleon.
It to Moscow.
Well, that was his that was his plan though, and he didn't learn from Napoleon that the winters there are too cold.
Well, he was a fucking idiot and wouldn't listen to his generals.
No, but the scientists actually had said it was going to be one of the warmest summers in history. That's what they told him, and that's why he went.
Believe it or not, also what happened during that campaign, there was 3 different fronts with the essentially there was Army Group A that went north towards Moscow, Army Group B, circled down into Ukraine. The Army Group A actually got slowed down, a little bit, so he diverted resources, essentially sending them not towards Moscow, but away towards Ukraine to actually, reinforce that front, trying to keep the entire front moving forward at the same time. But instead of doing, what he should have done and tried to punch straight through to Moscow and take your enemy's capital, he waited too long. by the time they got to the outskirts of Moscow, I mean, it was already late October, early November. The snow started to fall.
Well, that was the thing.
Just like Napoleon, I mean,
Right,
the winter came to Russia's aid. I
learn
mean,
your lesson. But he actually could have made it to Moscow and would have been better off going to Moscow. Instead, he goes off to Stalingrad.
yeah.
And, of course,
well, that was
we
the
know what
next.
happened
That was
there.
the next year. I mean, when they resumed their campaign, trying to get down into the Caucasus to try to, steal, or secure all the Soviet oil. I mean, the Nazis essentially had to rely on synthetic oil. That was one of their biggest problems towards the end of the war. They couldn't even fuel up planes and tanks. I mean, during the Battle of the Bulge, you think about it, they outran their supply lines. They had no more oil. That's where their tanks stopped.
So what do you think? What do you think about the Trump put out not too long ago his peace plan for the Middle East over there?
Yeah,
What do you think of the
I have no faith that it's
two-state
actually
solution?
gonna.
Well, do you believe in a two-state solution, or
I
or
actually
do?
do. I mean, I don't see
Yeah?
any pragmatic situation. I mean,
You don't see it other
obviously
way?
the Arabs do have representation in the Knesset, which is Israel's parliament. They actually do have a significant say right now because no one can really get to a majority if they don't include them in some sense. But I mean, me personally, not getting too deep into it, I don't see any scenario where one-state solution works. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about that either, so I probably won't go too deep into that. But
But I feel like that's actually pretty normal for this day and age. I mean, a lot of people, especially Americans, we don't know anything about like
well, you
other
got the
countries'
big
politics.
BDS movement now. They're a bunch of lunatics.
Yeah,
They're just bad
boycotts,
people. They're
divestments,
just
and
bad people.
sanctions. I mean,
They don't even know. They're just bad people.
it-
There's nothing. Trust me. There's nothing good about them. There's nothing good going on
it's
there.
one of those
Uh,
topics where I'm like, you're not gonna.
Hey,
win
you
me
should
either
like
way.
Trump. He's one of the biggest friends of the Jews.
Of
He loves
Israel.
them. He loves the Jews. He loves them. They're good people. They're beautiful. They're beautiful over there.
So long as you vote for me, you guys are
Yeah.
fantastic.
What do you think about Netanyahu at all?
You know,
When's their election? It's coming up, right?
They are actually scheduled to have their third elections of the
March,
last
something like
year
that?
in March, I believe.
And what happened with his corruption? Do you know what's going on with that?
Actually, Israel's attorney general decided to pursue the case.
Yeah, no, I know.
And
yeah.
what he's trying to actually do is pass something through the next parliament that's going to be elected, where it'll give him immunity, so that way he can't be prosecuted. I mean, when you actually look at it, I mean, I don't like Netanyahu's policies, but what they're actually trying to like charge him with, I mean, it's like you really didn't do anything it's that terrible. I mean, the guy took money to get better media coverage. I mean, is
Wow.
that so shocking in politics in this day
Well,
and
no,
age?
people
Like,
do it, but you're not supposed to obviously. do
obviously,
it,
you're
you know
not
what I
supposed
mean?
to do it, but like, is it so shocking? And even some of the Israelis I was talking to when I was there back in December, I mean, whether they supported him or not, the general like consensus that I got at least was, hey, just say that what you did was wrong, apologize, and just go about your day. I mean, if you would just say, yeah, I'm sorry, I did it, it was wrong, I shouldn't have done it, pay your fine or whatever, do whatever minimal punishment they give you, and just go about your day.
Well, that's the thing is they're probably still going to punish him regardless. But that is
Yeah,
another
I mean,
thing. A lot of times, if people just were honest, if they just said "I'm sorry,"
yeah,
people are very forgiving.
just like the impeachment with Trump. I mean, obviously,
He's
I mean,
going to win. That's another thing. To talk
basically, I mean, I think everybody knew that from the beginning. I mean, this was
Sure,
he was going to
sure.
get impeached, but
about.
not
But they didn't know
convicted.
if the
but, like,
witnesses were documents were going to be allowed or not. That
Yeah.
was scary or sketchy,
exactly.
I should say.
But
yeah.
him too. I mean, not that he would ever do it. I don't think he would ever say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong." But if he would actually do something like that, I think even like moderate Democrats would go, "All right, fine." Like
Very
let's-
moderate Democrats.
Well, yeah.
At this point, is there such
Actually,
thing as a
yeah.
moderate Democrat?
Yeah, there's not really
You
moderates
know?
left in
'Cause
any
even
scenario.
Biden he's considered a moderate Democrat, but he's had to go so far left in
Yeah.
order to appease anybody.
That's what
Frickin'
happens with our
AOC,
elections.
Alexandria Cortez, Oscar, whatever.
Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah, she's
Oscar Grouch
stumping
over
for
there.
Bernie over in
Right, and she even said there's no left or there's no Democrat. I don't even know what she said. She said that like the
there's-
Biden and them, they're not
They're not real-
left. They're not leftists.
Well,
they're
she had
not
made a
Democrats.
statement. She's like, in any other country, we would not be in the same
That's
political
how
party.
far left she is. Like she's on the edge of that cliff right now. I
Yeah.
hope she falls
And,
over
you know,
and
something
crashes
as a
and dies.
Democrat, I mean, I'm one of those people that I'm like, technically, yeah, I am kind of settling for Biden. I don't think that if
I
you
just think
put
he's too old.
that's
He's too
really
old.
that's
Him
why
and
I'm
Sanders are too old.
that's why I'm settling for it. Like I support his policies the most of any of the Democrats that are up on the stage, but it's just like, something in terms of his performance in the debates, like you can't put him on the stage with Donald Trump.
It happened quickly too. Like
Yeah, like
his
5-6 years
inability-
ago,
yeah,
he was
not
actually
even.
He was sharp as a
right.
whip.
I think like a year, it's almost a year or two. Like he can't speak anymore.
Well, I mean, he does now say that he has some type of speech impediment.
Course.
I think he has a stutter.
Oh, that speech impediment. I think he's got something going on in the brain, and I think that's a way to. That's a nice way to cover. That's a nice way. Oh yeah, no, speech problem. My brain's not going.
I don't know about that, but I mean, if you go back
on.
even to the 2012 campaign when he had to do the debate against Paul Ryan, I mean, he was sharp as a whip. He took him to school in that debate, but now I see him on the campaign stage now, and I'm
it's
like,
natural.
It's just like you know something. He's just too far past his time.
Yeah.
But I mean, what really worries me is that, I mean, there's really not anybody else on the stage. I mean, if you put Bernie on the stage against Trump, I feel like he could probably have a good debate, but his policies, I'm just like.
Look, I think the two front runners in the Democratic are the best chances. They're still the best hopes, but there's no.
I think
great
it's a two-horse
candidate.
race.
Like, I think because Sanders is kind of old news. He doesn't have, he's got his base loves him. But outside of that, he doesn't have that fire that he had 4 years ago. It's it's like Hillary running again. You know what I mean?
I think when you look at his base, I mean, they are
they
extremely
freaking
passionate.
love him.
But
they're like equivalent to Trump's base. They're
Yeah.
crazy nuts who will do anything for the guy.
Exactly.
You know?
But in terms of like the other Democrats that he needs to win over, like if he did get the nomination, like especially being in New York State, knowing that it's going to go Democrat, I would probably just write in a candidate.
Really?
Yeah, I would write in Eli Manning or Bill Parcells or Tom Coughlin or something to that extent.
I mean,
maybe Derek Jeter. He's a Hall of Famer
and
now.
Mike Bloomberg, of course, is getting in the race. Mini Mike, as Trump calls him.
Dude,
he's spending like $100 million. I hate him. Whenever I see an ad of his, he had one freaking ad where dogs talked. Okay. Or
Did
something
you see
like
him
that.
the other day
I love
shaking the
Mike.
dog's head?
Yeah. Well, he had a whole commercial with just like dogs moving their mouths and saying, "I like Mike. I like to take a crap, and I like Mike," or whatever.
Honestly, I feel like in American politics in this day and age, that actually would probably work. Just a commercial of dogs being like, "Yeah, I like Mike Bloomberg."
Oh, then Mike did have a good take though. They asked him like, "So if you make it, if you win the candidacy and you have to run against Trump, it's going to be two New York billionaires running against each other." And he's like, "Who's the other billionaire?" He's like, "Oh."
Well, actually, something that's something that I was thinking about because they were showing, I think it was on the Rachel Maddow show a few weeks ago. They were showing graphics. Something she's very pointed in, like when she's going to take on an issue.
She's
so
crazy.
And
lies.
Something. If you're from my point of view, then it's like you can
fair
sympathize with her. But
fair enough.
She had some type of graphic up where they were showing how much money people have spent in the race so far, and they got to Mike Bloomberg and Tom Steyer, and you just look at it like Steyer had spent
Tom
like
Steyer's another one.
he had spent like $67 million of his own money. Bloomberg had spent like $100 million plus, and I'm like, something. If Trump was really as rich as he says, I feel like he would have spent a lot more money to make himself seem better. But I'm like, I feel like these guys are just like Trump is a billionaire, but these guys are like on another level of billionaire.
Now, is Sanders like? Is he like a? What does he think about the Jewish state and all that? He feels like a two-state kind
something
of guy.
I would have to research more into what he says on that. I mean, in terms of his foreign policy, I would him and Elizabeth Warren. I'm like, listen,
you saw the woman thing. When they're during a debate, he says, "These asked the question."
They were trying to get them to snipe at each other.
And the best was, he asked her. She asked him, "Did you say to Elizabeth Warren that a woman can't be president?" Of course, he's like, "No, I never said it." And then he goes to Elizabeth Warren. He's like, "So when Senator Sanders told you that a woman couldn't be president,"
he didn't even answer the question.
That's not how you.
I just said I didn't do it.
Now, to be fair, I think that I don't think it was like a plot against him to destroy. I think she didn't understand. She didn't in that moment. She kind of panicked and didn't know how to phrase the question, to be fair.
Well, that was the debate that was on CNN, I believe. And actually, I watched that. I mean...
Yeah, I saw it live. Yeah, it was pretty
I
funny.
did the same thing, and I'm like, I thought that moderator, like, she was almost trying to get herself over. I'm like, I can't stand this woman. Like, she would... Like, I like the fact that she would be like, okay, time's up, next question. Like, move to the next person, but...
Right. But then the best part after that was when they showed the clip of Elizabeth Warren going up to Sanders, and after the debate, and she's like, "You called me a liar?" Well, did you hear what they said? She's like, "You called me a liar."
Oh yeah, they got the hot mic
He's
moment.
like, "What?" What? She's like, you just called me a liar in front of the world. He's like, I don't want to deal with this now. We'll deal with this later. I gotta go. And then stupid Tom Steyer's in the picture. He's like, Bernie, I just wanted to shake your hand. He's like, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, good.
He's turning into a grumpy old man. But
so he probably said it. He probably said it.
I don't know if he did or didn't, but truth be told, I mean, when you look at things, I mean, either way, I think Joe Biden's campaign definitely wants to do everything they can to keep Elizabeth Warren in the race right now, to kind of split that part of the party to try. It could be. I mean,
so wait, who's your favorite?
So
who's your favorite candidate in the Democratic Party?
I would have to take Joe Biden. Like I said, I would be settling for Biden. I mean, I like I said, I like his policies the best, but in terms of like his delivery and I mean how he goes about the campaign stage,
he sounds awful when he tries to talk.
And that's something that I mean, he can't get through. He can't get through like a sentence, but like I understand that he says that he has a speech impediment. I mean, that's I sympathize.
His brain
with that.
is dying.
But also, I mean, there was a scenario, the first debate that the Democrats had, he would be giving his answers to questions, and the second that the bell went off, like, okay, time's up, he would literally just stop mid-sentence and would just stop talking. Right. Every other candidate's like, I'm just going to keep on going. Like, I get that you're trying to play me off, like, at the Grammys or whatever show, they'll play music to try, like, okay, wrap up your speech. Every other candidate, I'm just going to keep going. He would just stop dead mid-sentence, and I'm like, you look like an idiot doing that. I'm sorry. Just finish your thought, wrap it up quick, and just keep it concise.
What do you think about Andrew Yang? You think he has a chance at all?
No. I think that he's got some good policies that, I mean...
Yeah, basically...
I don't want to say policies. He's got good... thoughts on why things. He
patents himself as like some kind of economic, a guru. Basically, he wrote a book about how we're going to lose all our jobs, and it's I get that. One, that's probably true. We're probably going to lose a lot of our jobs to automation, but there's a lot of fear mongering going on. That's what I hate about the Democratic Party. There's so much fear mongering.
Well, Climate change. I think that's on both sides too.
Well, yeah. But not to the extent I think that the liberals, the climate change, they're always saying the world's going to end, like tomorrow, and then they're always saying like Republicans are going to come out with their guns and like shoot and kill everybody. They're saying we're going to lose all our jobs to automation.
On that second topic, I mean, I just feel like that does actually happen to an extent. I mean, they get shot every single day. I mean, and now if it doesn't happen to kids in a school, it's like it doesn't even make the news anymore. It's like, oh yeah, 4 people got shot at the mall today. It's like a little blurb on the scroll at the bottom of the TV screen.
Of course, it's unfortunate. But that's an incredibly tough. There's a few tough issues. This is the problem. The major issues like abortion, gun control, I don't know, maybe healthcare. Yeah, they're complicated. But the thing is, there's no like one answer. Like abortion it's really just comes down to kind of, I don't want to say preference, but there's always going to be two sides to that, and that's why you're never going to be able to
never going to convince the other side,
right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I get it, and I get that. But like abortion, it just seems like common sense. Again, where's the common sense? It just seems like common sense to me. You got a life, right? It's a life. And almost all scientists agree that at conception, even though it's one cell, that's where the human life begins. Okay, yes, I understand it's not a baby. You want to use a technical term, it's a cell at that point. Then it becomes a fetus. Then it becomes a human baby. But we know the natural progression is going to be, it's going to be a human, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got like vegans out there who won't eat a freaking egg because they know it's going to be a chicken. But meanwhile, an abortion's okay.
Actually, that's not a bad scenario.
Well, it's not terrible, right? And that's because it's all about their preference. They put themselves and their ability to choose, right? You hear it constantly. I want to have the choice over my own body. I get to do what I want with my own body. And it's like I totally get that because I always try to put things in my perspective. I put it, myself in their shoes. If someone was saying it about me, if it was my body, would I want the government or someone else, being able to make decisions over, can I play with my penis? I don't want the government deciding that.
That's true.
And I get that. So, but does that trump, the real issue is does that trump the human life that you're about to extinguish from this world? And so I would say no, and of course there's always caveats, right? And you hear it constantly, again, in the matters of like incest, rape, or the mother's health, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine with all those three. Yeah. Doesn't that seem like just a common sense?
Yes,
one?
Actually, that does seem common sense. And and from a Democrat point of view, I mean, there's Republicans on some side who are just like in like Louisiana and like Alabama and
There's a
all
couple
these places
places
it's
that
like,
have now passed laws where you can't do it at all. There's no rape.
Even
if there's rape,
if you were
incest-
raped by your brother and you
Right.
get pregnant, like no, you
Right.
have to have that
And
baby.
again,
Or it's
I'm
like common sense America
Right.
is like no, you
I
shouldn't
get that.
at
I get
all.
that. Of course. And one of the things they say now is really there's almost no instances really where the mother's health is so much at risk that the baby can't be born. But
There's always scenarios.
Regardless of that. Like, obviously, I'm not going to trade one life for another life. If the mother's going to die because that baby's going to come into the world, well, then no, I'm not going to say she has to have the baby. That would just be idiotic,
Yeah.
right? But at some point, when do we hold people responsible? There has to be personal responsibility. Am I right? I mean,
That's true.
That's supposed to be the Republican philosophy, personal responsibility. You know, the government doesn't help you. That's why we like a small government. That's why we like to keep our guns, because to do things ourselves. You know, maybe the police can't always handle it, whatever. That's the basic principle behind our beliefs. I don't know what the basic principle behind the Democrats is, and at least not anymore. Not today. What's the guiding principle for why they do what they do?
Me personally, I mean, being the fact that I'm also Jewish, I mean, my philosophy was that, I mean, a lot of these things are based off of, some type of Christian, morality. And in my point of view, it's if we actually do have freedom of religion, not to bring in a whole another topic, but it's like,
With the Democrats?
No. I'm just saying from my view in general, like as a Democrat, I mean, this is where I personally stand on the issue. It's like, it's almost like they're trying to press off a Christian morality on somebody who I'm not, Christian. So I'm like, technically, you're kind of violating my freedom of religion. I mean, this is not a scenario I've had to really deal with. My personal beliefs are also, if somebody else that I have no idea who the hell they are in another part of the country wants to have an abortion, that doesn't really affect me. That's just where I stand on the issue. Like, it's not my business.
These huge issues, so they don't affect that many people.
Well,
gay
I don't
marriage
want
or
to say
something like that.
many people, but it does affect a lot of people.
No, right, but it doesn't. They're always usually
There's always
talking about
people
things.
that like it may not affect certain people.
Right,
so.
and the way people take politics so personally, but so often, does it really matter who's president at the end of the day?
No, it
Do
always
they
goes.
directly affect your life?
There's
No.
a million
No.
different stages you have to get through in gripes before you get to
Right,
the
they
president.
affect-
From your local government
Right,
to
they
your
affect
state
the
government.
culture. Right, your local government is something that you should care much more about than who's running the country.
It drives me absolutely crazy because people will, take shots at, whoever is in office in terms of like taxes going up, oh, I can't believe they're doing this, but it's like, did you show up for your local school budget vote?
Right.
Because that actually
I couldn't
directly
tell you what the tax cut was, how much my taxes,
like-
were cut by when.
But like when you think about it, like your local school budget vote directly affects how much you are going to pay in taxes.
Sure.
I mean, but in terms of like who gets voted for president, I mean, he has to get through so many different levels of getting that passed, whether it's going through the House of Representatives and the Senate. I mean, it doesn't sound like that much, but try getting any piece of legislation through. Trump's gotten one major piece of legislation.
Well, now he's doing some work. Now he's
cut.
putting in some things. He's got the USMCA trade deal. Although
Actually,
Canada
that did
has
get
not.
through. Actually, I'm
Canada
mistaken
hasn't
on that.
ratified it yet, but Mexico has.
Yeah.
He signed 2 trade deals. There was another one also. So before the election's coming up, he's putting in some work, and now he gets off on the impeachment thing. He gets off on the Russia thing, which we know.
Oh,
is
he's
just
going to be
total
having
BS.
a campaign rally next
when
week.
I think he's doing the State of the Union next week or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
And if he
My
gets,
God!
If he gets off on the impeachment, that first campaign rally that he has is going to be absolutely.
I'll be
like,
shocked if he doesn't get
bonkers.
reelected. I mean, I will be shocked
He really does have a
because
very
I just don't see one Democrat
I don't either.
garnering such support. Hillary as I don't understand what people call her a bad candidate, but she was just bland, and people didn't like the blandness.
She actually, when you look at her policies, like I thought they were pretty sound economically.
But again, this is one. She had if you go back to original Hillary, like when she ran against Obama, totally different person.
Yeah.
Even Obama wasn't that. He's nothing compared to the far left now.
Yeah,
he was left. But he wasn't nothing, and people always want to bring up the gay marriage thing, that he was against gay marriage. Hillary Clinton was against gay marriage until 2013. So the 2008, those people are nothing compared to the left now. I mean, they wouldn't even fit in the party, and they're actually shitting on Obama now. Like they were attacking
debate,
him.
They were just going.
They were
after
attacking
him.
at it. I mean, you got the first black president. He was bigger than Oprah. He was like God to these people, and now it's like he's not progressive because that's all they care about. How freaking progressive are you? How much further can you go? How much further can you push? How crazier can you get? And that's all they care about.
Yeah, and actually, that was one of Obama's major strengths, was that he was able to unite, both factions of the Democratic Party. He was able to bring together the liberals and the moderates. But I mean, when you bring up that topic, I mean, during the first and second debate, listening to it, I mean, people were taking pot shots at each other. Now that he's out of the race, Cory Booker, he was really the only one who had the sense that night or those 2 nights to be like, guys, we probably should be trying to build coalitions here, get some common ideas across.
Well, now the Democrats have a problem because, of course, there aren't enough black people or minorities in the final 5 there. First,
it's a very old white ballot other than Buttigieg.
2 debates ago, they called Andrew Yang a person of color. I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, okay. She's like, well, what is like?
He's the darkest shade on the
only
stage.
Person of color, and it's like, Jesus, they didn't like the other candidates. I mean, the Democratic Party is diverse as hell. So they could have voted for Kamala Harris or Cory Booker. They just didn't like him.
Yeah.
They like Bernie better than like Biden, God forbid. You know, and Biden, he's got the vice president to Barack Obama. Yeah. Bernie Sanders marched with the civil rights people back in the 60s. For me, because I want a Democrat to lose, again, I'll vote across either side. I hate the Democratic candidates right now. And again, an old Biden I might have liked, one from 10 years ago who was more reserved, who was a little more. Now they've all just gone so far left. They're saying craziness. They're saying reparations. What the hell are reparations?
And you know something?
What the hell are Georgetown has freaking reparations?
Yeah. How are we going to go about calculating this one?
That's the question, and it almost seems to never get asked.
Who's most eligible for this? I mean,
right? Well, do you decide it like based on percentage? You have to take everyone's DNA then, and then like, is there a threshold? Oh, you have to be more than 50% black. First of all, almost nobody's like 100% black. Most black Americans, in fact, have some European blood in them. They're usually like, they can be anywhere. Usually because the slave owners like to rape a lot of the slaves back then. So almost none of them are fully African American. So how does that work? And they're talking about who was the crazy lady? Oprah's she loved her. Ann Williams. What were their names? She was like some spiritual.
Yeah.
She
Ann
was
Williamson,
talking about
I think it was
$200 billion in reparations. $200 billion. Okay.
I think there was a skit on this on the Chappelle Show of what happens if you start to take on this scenario. So
again,
not to be a
there's
fucking
so
asshole,
many questions. Even if I would
literally like when they actually start to like talk about the scenario, and I'm like,
well, they never do. They can never really get into it in depth.
There's no actual answer.
You can't,
that's literally
right.
like my mind goes like right to the Chappelle Show.
Right, but Georgetown University, the liberal bastion that they are, they actually impose a tax. The student body, I think, imposed like a $25.07 tax on each student to as reparations for minority students.
I actually haven't heard that. So
yeah,
I mean,
but again, would Elizabeth Warren classify? Because she's 1/16 Native American. I guess she's.
Was it even a 16th?
Yeah, 1/16 Native American, or that's what she actually is.
That's what she is.
But she put. Yeah,
that
she was
Native
like
American.
part Native American on her application. Smart gal. I gotta be. I've done it on a couple job applications. I'm like, I just put other.
Yeah.
Or I'll put just 2. Technically, I am 2.
It'll make you stand out.
And you never know. I might have something else in there. Well, actually, my mother did the 23andMe or whatever.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to know what you. Don't tell me. And she's like, okay, I won't tell you that we're 70% Italian. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing there? So now apparently she's up to 87% Italian. She's like, well, it just keeps going up. So they find out more and more. I'm like, first of all, what does that even mean?
Well, you know something.
But what's that other 13%? I could be black. Do I get reparations?
Sometimes it tells you other. I mean, it's just like they haven't figured it out.
I think that's what it was. It was like other.
Yeah.
And then the other part, I didn't get the other side of me tested. But as far as I know, I'm Irish.
Yeah.
My last name is O'Boyle.
Well, I did mine thinking that like, hey, maybe I'll have something cool in there. It's like, nah, you're Jewish.
But should I get reparations? You're Jewish. Who's been more persecuted than Jews?
Actually,
I want my the Irish. You want to go back? Irish need not apply, right?
Really. I want some of that pie now too.
Seriously, no. Seriously, in all seriousness, the Irish probably have been more persecuted. But
I wouldn't go that far. Black people were put in slavery.
Yeah, but again, only for a short time. I mean,
a short time. It was hundreds of years.
Compare that to 1,000 years. So the Irish have always been living next to the British, and the British have essentially owned, raped, pillaged, and burned the Irish.
That's
for
not an American
years.
problem, though. I mean, it's just not.
No, right. I mean, well, if you want to just talk about what happened here, when the Irish here, again, they didn't really come over to like the 1800s. Yeah, of course they were attacked. If couldn't get jobs. Irish need not apply. Yada yada. But it was. You seen Gangs of New York? Great freaking movie.
Obviously.
Oh my god, Just a great freaking movie.
Yeah, let's get on to that topic now because
Dead
we're getting
rabbits.
into like
Yeah,
this,
all right. We know what to.
these angry,
get too
morbid
serious.
topics, whether it's politics or just
Yeah.
like world history or the
Do you
people
want to
that
take
we
a
work with.
break or anything right now? Or
No,
you wanna
actually,
get a drink?
I'm
You
good.
All
I'm
right,
good to
you
go.
You good over there? Yeah. All
All
right.
right. Let's just find some
He's
happier
had to
topics.
listen to us all this time. He's like he wants to shoot himself. That's all right.
It's all right. Hopefully, listeners won't feel the same way. Let's find some.
Anything else you want to talk about right now?
Let's
What,
find
what did you just say?
let's
Oh,
find
movies?
We could do movies. We could do the Super Bowl. We could talk about some of those fights that are coming
All
up.
right.
I mean,
Yeah, we can do all that. All right, so pick one. I'll let you choose. Pick.
we may as well do the Super Bowl.
Super
I mean,
Bowl?
we only
All
got
right.
one more day before
You definitely know more
goes
than
down.
me. So, but all right, let's talk Super Bowl.
I mean, we got what's going on. We got the Chiefs and the Niners.
Chiefs by 5. All right, we're
I
done.
think the Chiefs are -1 or -1.5 favorites. I mean, either way, I think the Chiefs are going to
They
win
have
this
to be
one.
favorites. Again, yeah, like I said, I from the limited knowledge that I have, I don't think the run offense of the 49ers is going to surpass the Chiefs.
Well, you know something, you probably can run the football on the Chiefs. The Chiefs' defense isn't that great, but just looking at recent history in the playoffs, I mean, whether it was against the Titans, whether it was against the Texans, whether it was last year against the Patriots, even though they didn't win the game, I mean, the Chiefs can put up so many points in such a short amount of time.
Mahomes
I mean,
is a beast.
you can have a 30-point lead on them, and literally in a quarter and a half, you're losing. It's just that's not human. I don't know how that's possible, but I mean, you look at their team. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes who can throw the ball, 75, 80.
Kelsey's the tight end? Or
Yeah, Travis
Kelsey?
Kelce. I mean, he's a monster. I mean, he's a matchup nightmare. And then you look at their receivers, McCole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, and Sammy Watkins. You just have 3 burners there. I mean, just run deep. I'll throw it as far as I can. And the 49ers, their defense is very, very good because their defensive line is so good. You have so many first-round picks like DeForest Buckner, Solomon Thomas, Joey Bosa. They, get such a pass rush up there. But when it comes to their cornerbacks, you have Richard Sherman and Ahkello Witherspoon. I mean, they're both very good at times, but, I mean, neither one of them are burners. Like Richard Sherman, yeah, he's an all-pro, but, I mean, he's not the fastest guy in the league, and you're just putting up against these track stars. I think they're just going to have the Chiefs like, hey, if you can get off a bump and run coverage, just run as deep as you can. And I just don't know how the Niners are going to wind up covering Travis Kelce. I mean,
No, he's a beast.
I unless they're just getting a sick pass rush like the Giants did against the Patriots back in 2007, I mean, that's really what they're going to have to do is just play with their front four and just get a pass rush, get to Patrick Mahomes, and they're going to have to do that the entire game.
They have a great offensive line, though, too, the Chiefs.
Well, I wouldn't say great, but they have a pretty good offensive
pretty good.
line.
All right. I think 49ers is a little better.
Oh, the 49ers offensive line was really damn good.
Yeah.
Whether it's
Was that Jimmy Fallon thing he did? I told you he did a thing the other night about the 49ers. He put up all their photos, and then he does like a caption of and he like put up Garoppolo's like good-looking guy, and it's like this is my Tinder photo. How they do that thing on Instagram with the 4 boxes, and it's like LinkedIn,
Yeah, like the
you put
what's her
LinkedIn,
name?
Facebook, Instagram, and Tinder, and then you put up a different picture for each. And Tinder.
Dolly Parton challenge, I think it is.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. And they put up Garoppolo's, and it was like Tinder, and this is what my Tinder photo would look like. Then he had some other funny ass ones.
I saw that he did. People read mean tweets on his show. He had Tom Brady on there. He's like, Tom Brady has a butthole chin. I'm like, yeah, but this motherfucker has won more than any player in the history of the league. He's got a smoking.
Well, what do you think about Tom
supermodel
Brady?
wife.
Is he staying in New England?
I have
You
no
saw
idea.
Dana White. Dana White really wants him in Vegas.
Yeah, something
With that new stadium,
yeah,
crazy.
I can't wait until. I mean, I hate the fucking Jets, but if the Jets play in Oakland before the Giants do, I'm still gonna go out there for that. I mean, I can always root against them.
Imagine he went to the Jets. How about that? Although I think Sam Darnold's gonna be good. I think Sam Darnold's the future.
yeah.
I think he's gonna be better than
the
Daniel
Patriots
Jones. I think so.
You know something? Daniel Jones is a much more polished thrower. Well, not much more, but he's a little bit more polished as a thrower right now. But Sam Darnold, I mean, that's a crapshoot. Which one's going to be better? I think they're both actually going to be pretty good.
So wait, in Super Bowl, who do you picking the Chiefs by? What?
Yeah, I'll take the 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Believe it or not,
any idea range?
you know something? I would expect the Chiefs to put up prop. I mean, the Niners' defense is decent enough, somewhere between 25 and 35. But I I can easily see the Chiefs winning this game by 10 to 14 points.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think the Niners offense has the firepower to go with them unless they're getting turnovers all game long. I mean, they're really predicated on running the football, running the football.
Right. And again, it is the first Super Bowl for both, though. They're both going to be nervous, Garoppolo and Mahomes.
Not the first Super Bowl, in their franchise history.
No, I mean for the quarterbacks, for each of the quarterbacks.
Yeah. But
it's only the second for the Chiefs, maybe.
Yeah, they haven't been there since Super Bowl 4
They were
now.
crapping on Andy Reid a little bit,
Actually, no, this is the third Super Bowl for the Chiefs. They were in the first one, the fourth one, now this one.
Whatever happened to Alex Smith? Is he still in the league?
He had a real bad injury. He had a Joe Theismann type injury where it's like his ankle snapped in like two different directions. He's actually rehabbing. There was just a thing on ESPN about him. He's really trying to get back in the league, but at like 36 with all the millions of dollars he made.
Of course. But
he actually was drafted under the old collective bargaining agreement, so nowadays it used to be where if you were the first overall pick in the draft, you were getting $50 million guaranteed before you even stepped on the football field. And then when they re-signed the new collective bargaining agreement in 2010, that all changed over. So Cam Newton was the first overall pick the year after the CBA was signed. He got 4 years, $22 million fully guaranteed with a fifth-year option, which is really good. But when you look at like the year before, I think it was Sam Darnold was the first overall pick. He got like $55-60 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
he hadn't even played it down yet.
More. They were pissed. There was like all those basketball players a couple years ago getting a crap ton of money, and the football players were like, "Where's mine?"
Well, that's actually a true thing. I mean, basketball players, there's less players in leagues.
Well, sure, of course, yeah. No, you can't compare the two. I mean, you can't compare baseball to basketball. Look, I get it. The football brings in the most revenue. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's but they have 60 players then plus whatever per team. Plus all those coaches, plus
I think it's 53 plus the 11-man practice squad. So you got 64
And
players.
you got 10,000 coaches, one for each guy.
And then that's not even counting the people that go on injured reserve.
Staff,
I mean, you want each team winds up with 20 guys, 30 guys on injured reserve at the end of the year. You're paying them too.
And you're only playing 16 games. So maybe, they were talking about going to 17. You saw that?
Yes, I think that's
players
actually
were like, nope.
You know something? I believe it or not, if if the sponsors and owners shell
Well,
out the right amount of money, then yeah. Because I think the goal is, hey, we're going to cut the preseason down to either 2 or 3 games, and then we'll play a 17-game
Well, the preseason's
season.
2 right now, right?
It's 4.
Is it 4? Yeah, you're right.
It's 4 games. But people don't even play their starters.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's
So
not
the players are
worth
like,
it.
no, look.
It's not worth it to risk your star players.
They'd have to
in a game
offer
that means
them a lot more money, though. Because I told first round, the players were like, nope. And they sort of did. They were like, we'll offer you more money. And they're like, nope, we're not getting injured, I mean, look, I don't blame them.
I don't blame them at all.
One more game is a big deal.
You know something I say to this day and age, Mark Sanchez probably would have played, 7-8 years as the Jets quarterback had Rex Ryan not put him in the third quarter of a preseason game. He got hurt, was out for the year after that, and Geno Smith took over. I mean,
Geno, Jesus.
Geno,
what are you doing for the Super Bowl?
You know something? I'm actually not doing much. I'm just going to be at home because with it being on a Sunday night, I mean, it's like got work the next day. I mean, I'm going to be.
You come to my friend's house. We're going to my friend's house.
Yeah, definitely. Shoot me a text. I'll come out.
I'll hit you up.
Because it's one of those nights like I'm not going to stay out late. I'm probably not even going to drink. I'll just
no, we don't do that. We just chill, eat a lot of good food, chill with the family. They like bet on it, so like the father goes so hard. It's like they bet on like every little thing, like which player is gonna have like 5 passes or more, or who's gonna have this many yards. He always loses, so he's always pissed.
That always adds an element of entertainment to any game when you're watching
screaming
with like somebody who's got money on, and it's like. Okay, like they're either going to be like throwing TVs or they're going to be just ecstatic off the wall, like drinks on me.
We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the commercials a little bit in the halftime show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And again,
I think actually like 30 have already been released because like.
Oh yeah, and I've seen some of the pre-release. I know
they wanted to go viral like right away.
They were talking. Jimmy Fallon's going to be in a Super Bowl commercial. Yeah, something with like a bunch of other stars. I forget what it's for now, but he was telling. Oh yeah, he's in a scene with like a golfer. And there's like a bird, and the golfer hits a hole in one or whatever it is, or hits a shot, a putt, and he goes birdie, and I don't know, it has to do with the bird yet. But then he said he has to give like a fist bump to the golfer, and he says before that, like this little girl had taught him something where you go for the fist bump, and then you create like a snail, you put up like a peace sign in front of your 2 fingers, and that creates a snail. And then you take the other hand and do like a jellyfish or something like that. I don't know, something. Yeah. But
I
he
feel
said
like
he did it to the golfer, to the famous golfer. Like he went to go fist bump, and then he puts up the snail, and then goes jellyfish, and that's in the. They left it in the commercial. It was an ad lib, and they left it in the commercial, so that'll be in there. I don't know why, but I'm so excited to see it.
Actually, something, I'll take it because they try so fucking hard with these Super Bowl
6
commercials.
million
They try
for a 30-second spot. 6 million.
But every company, they try to be so fucking funny with everything they
and
put
I like
out.
it. I appreciate. People watch the Super Bowl now for the commercials or and the halftime show.
But I'm saying, like, I watch these commercials. They're trying to be funny, and I'm just stone faced. Like,
some of them hit, some of them miss, though. Some of them. Any
I
ideas?
feel like they just used to be
Super Bowl
funnier
commercials?
back
The
in the
Dorito
day.
ones are always funny.
Yeah,
the
they
Dorito
usually
ones are good.
actually are.
Yeah, I can't remember any of them off the top of my head. But
there was the one where, like, the girl has her dad and her friends, like, she's like, "You want to play Tea Party with me?" And they're like, "No, we're gonna watch the game." She's like, "I got Doritos." And they're like, oh,
he's dressed up.
They're all dressed up, makeup up.
I remember that one. And then you got J-Lo and Shakira. Ooh, mama.
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, I heard they were actually beefing with each other.
Really?
Because they hired.
I hope so.
They
Maybe
hired
they'll, like,
J-Lo first.
wrestle and then make out or something. I don't know.
So a lot more people would actually watch the halftime show.
They'll watch it anyway, trust me.
Something.
J-Lo could be 45 and she's still freaking hot.
She is a fucking goddess.
Yeah.
Shakira too. I mean.
No, Shakira. Oh, dude. Didn't they do? Who was it? Shakira and was it J-Lo or Beyonce did like a video years ago, like 10, 15 years ago, and they were that thing was magic.
But I heard the two of them were actually beefing because they brought in J-Lo first, and then it turned out later on they brought in Shakira too, and she was kind of like, "Why do we need a second act?"
Right.
Fucking
well,
Jennifer
they always
Lopez.
bring like whoever. Maroon 5 brought on Big Boy last year.
Yeah.
The Maroon 5 one was so funny because nobody liked it except like every house mom in America because Adam Levine is like such a god. He took his shirt off. I remember like again the kid's house that I go to. His mother. I don't know if he's listening to this right, but the mother was like sitting like glued like right in front of the TV like.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and even my mother was like, "Oh, that Adam Levine, he's such a man."
Yeah, I don't think my mom actually has a clue who Adam Levine is.
Yeah, well, he's on like wasn't he on some The Voice? So my mother watches The Voice all the time. Yeah, trust me, I'm not into them either. But
although I do love me some reality TV, that's my shit.
You are?
Oh yeah, 90 Day
Now
Fiance, my 600-pound wife.
Right now?
Oh my
my 600-pound wife.
My 600-pound life.
Oh, life.
About people who are literally like 600 pounds trying to get gastric bypass surgery.
Oh, I have seen that. And usually all end up dying.
A lot of them do lose weight, and then some of them it's just like they'll go to the doctor after like 3 months. Like, they're supposed to be on a diet, and the doctor's like,
and
"You
gained weight.
6 pounds."
Right.
So they're like, "I don't know what's been going on, doctor."
Well, again, once you
like,
get
I've
to
been
that
sticking
point,
to the diet. Like, listen, if you would just eat like,
and
what
by
I told you
sticking,
to
I
eat-
mean sticks of butter.
yeah, basically, it's like if you would just stick to the diet that I asked you to be on, you literally wouldn't have to do exercise at all. You would just lose weight. They show up 3 months later, they're 6 pounds heavier.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's
when you're
like,
that big, you can't even do any exercise. Dude, when you see them, those blobs, they're like Jabba the Hutt. It's insane.
So they carry so much weight on their body, it actually hurts them.
Oh yeah,
their joints can't support it.
But the craziest thing, and also usually the worst thing about it, is they have enablers. That's how they get so big and stay so big. Is they can't get out of the bed to even get the food,
but
they
have
got somebody
exactly
like a freaking waiter, a butler.
Here's 2 pepperoni pizzas.
Right, like here's your 3rd course for breakfast, and it's like, dude, are you freaking out of your mind?
If you would just
show hoarders, like
it's like if you would literally just be like, okay, I'm just gonna bring you less food, they would lose weight. They would have no choice.
Right,
they would have no choice.
Wait, it's just they'll sweat it out. And like, dude, could you imagine just the constant? Oh man, I don't even want to think about it. Honestly, it's heartbreaking. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But again, that raises a whole bunch of other issues. One, yes, you've got gastric bypass, so there's really no excuse. Like you should be able to lose. You shouldn't be 600 pounds, but at the same time, you have some sort of mental. There's something not right there.
A lot of them, believe it or not, they all have like stories where they were either abused or like molested or as children. It's like that was kind of like how they coped. It can be an excuse. I feel like,
and I can gain weight and get chubby, but I'm just gonna stop. My brain's gonna say stop. You're not gonna be 600 pounds. You're gonna hit a point where you're gonna be like, I can't eat this 3rd burrito. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not a psychiatrist, but I guess if
you
you're
don't need
coming,
to be a psychiatrist.
I guess if you're coming out of like one of those like situations, I've never had to deal with if like you're abused or molested or neglected. I mean, I don't know what that's like to deal with mentally, but I mean.
I had one person.
I see what you're saying.
I was at work like a year and a half ago at this other job, and it was right during like the Brett Kavanaugh thing.
Okay.
And this guy, I didn't even know him, but he just like came in through like the back door of my work. I think he worked next door, and so he just like comes in and just starts talking to me, and then he brings up the Brett Kavanaugh thing. I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's ridiculous, and he's like, yeah, I think it's ridiculous too. You know, I know more than most because I was molested when I was a kid. I was just like, what? Did you just drop that on me right now? I don't even know you, dude.
Nugget,
Take me out to dinner first before you. Dude. Well, what am I supposed to do with that?
You know something? Some people just socially they have no filter. They just put their shit out there. And it's
I
like,
get
okay,
that. But I'm like, now I'm thinking all these horrible things, and I'm like, and you know, I don't know what my mind just went to the worst place. I'm like, are you okay? You're like a 45-year-old man. I don't know. Are you okay?
Do I need to like?
You want to hold you?
Here? Like,
want me to? But
you know something? I guess if like he's doing it and he's
Jerry
like,
Epstein didn't kill himself. Sorry.
No, he definitely did. Actually, Republicans and Democrats are completely like. I feel like we're on the same page with that issue. Everyone's like, no, that motherfucker didn't kill himself. But
wait, do you believe he did or didn't?
I don't think he killed himself.
There's so many people who don't believe. Even my mother, like, they don't believe he killed himself. That's so crazy to me.
No, he didn't kill himself. There's some type of elites that he had some type of dirt on.
I feel like people want to believe that so bad. Like, you know, I'm not again.
Also, I think
I don't know, but I'm not one of those people who buys in it. Yes, fishy. But, you know, jails, there's so much, like, you know, there's so many.
He was supposed to be on death watch. There was supposed to be somebody like watching him all the time.
A lot of these jails, they're always breaking rules. They're always, you know, they can only do so much.
But then, like, they also lost the surveillance footage. It's like, how many things?
But that happens at so many prisons. Have you ever watched the TV show Escape at Denimora?
No.
Oh, my God. You got to watch that on HBO. Okay. Escape at Denimora. Remember when those two guys broke out upstate?
Yeah. There was like they were like hiding around like Lake George, I think it was, right?
Was it something like that?
They caught one of them in like a cabin in the woods that like one of the guards used as like a hunting cabin or something.
One they shot and killed him. But it's by Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller writes and directs the freaking thing, and it's probably the best show I've ever seen.
So that's what Ben Stiller's doing
Dude,
nowadays. I feel like I haven't seen him ever.
Yeah. Well, no, he directs. Yeah, he does a lot. He does a lot of directs a lot of stuff. He also and then. Who plays the woman in it? Who helps them escape? I forget the actress' name.
I think it was one of the guards in real life. She was
in real life.
Yeah.
I can't remember the person who played her though. She's freaking incredible too. But yeah, they basically start banging the chick, which happens a lot at jails and prisons. There's a lot of sex that goes on between the guards and the inmates. A lot of it. So first of all, it's crazy to me. You have a woman working in a male prison. That's insane. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I feel like that's asking for trouble.
Right. It happens all the time. And
not trying to like be like sexist or anything, but like that I feel like if you're gonna put a woman in like a prison situation like that where people are like, I've got nothing to lose. I mean, there's a lot of
they
things
manipulate
that
her. They manipulate
wrong.
her, and so they both start banging her. And then of course I think the guy was Matt. He was like the real mastermind behind it. And they break out, and I think like 3 weeks they're on the run or whatever. And this Escape at Denimora, the show is just insane. You got to watch it. Yeah, so one of them gets killed, and the other one's like trying to cross the border. He's like right at the border in Canada.
Okay.
And this cop just happens to see him like trying to walk like through the woods, and he's like, hey, stop!
What the hell are you doing here?
Right.
Like, we're looking for convicts.
He gets out. The guy starts to run. And he shoots him in the back a couple times. He's alive still. That guy's still alive.
Okay.
I think. And so they caught him. But yeah, they were some bad people. They had killed, like, they were in there in the first place. I think that guy who got shot in the back, who didn't die, killed a cop. That's why he was in there.
Okay.
And they show that in the movie. It's pretty great. Like, he shot him and then ran him over. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But you got to watch that show.
We keep going like back to these morbid topics.
No, I know, but
it's
hey,
like, oh
you
my
know
God.
what? Well, let's talk about MMA then real quick. Are you good? You want to take a break or anything?
No, I'm fine.
Sure you're all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right.
Talk about some MMA.
Like another half hour. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. So you heard about the big fight coming up? Usman and Masvidal?
You know something? Actually, I feel like they deserve each other because they were both cage side when Conor knocked out Cowboy, and you know that they were both looking for a fight with Conor. I feel like because it's going to be a bigger payday.
Right.
But we were talking about it the other day.
Right.
How Conor is kind of like the odd man out. So
Usman
and Masvidal. I mean,
and like I said, I think
time.
I think I have a picture of him, but Colby Covington's he's got to be. I want him to fight Conor. That would be the fight right there.
Actually, fighting style, yeah. I mean, promo style. I mean, they both are kind of like. Not like mirror images, but like they both have, that brash, arrogant.
Right, and that's Colby got some of it from Conor. He's like, hey, look, this guy is he's doing it, and it made him really successful. So let me come up with my shtick and the whole "Make America." Thank God for Trump.
Yeah, something like that I'm not supportive of. That, but
What?
What he's actually doing for himself, like he's getting himself over. I mean, it's working for him. I'm sure.
Are you talking about Trump? Or are you talking about Covington right now?
Covington. I mean, I'm not trying to say he's not a great fighter, but I mean,
He is a hell of a fighter.
It gets a lot more eyeballs kind of on, the products, which, it's not going to hurt anything if you're going to be bringing in more revenue for UFC. I mean, that's just a fact.
What's funny is actually there's a lot of UFC fighters who like Trump. Masvidal likes Trump. He says it all the time. Trump is mad cool. Trump is my guy. I like him. Trump was at the fight. And I think part of the reason...
He was at Covington. Trump Jr. was at Covington's fight when
yeah,
it was
both
in,
of the brothers
Progressive, right?
were
in,
at the
Jersey.
fight. Not when he fought Usman. The fight before that, where he fought Robbie Lawler.
Okay.
And he beat the crap out of Robbie Lawler. He threw the most punches ever, but in that fight. But yeah, what was I just gonna say? There's a lot. Who's the big black guy in the heavyweight? Lewis, Derek Lewis.
Okay.
Called what's he called? Black. I forget the name. They call him something, but the Black Beast.
Okay.
And he's like this 260-pound heavyweight. He loves Trump. He shouted him out at the end of one of his fights or whatever. But there's a lot of them because think about it. They're rugged, tough UFC guys. So even though maybe they're not all white, but one of the things, a little bit of backstory. You know how big a fan Trump is. He helped with the UFC in the beginning, right? You know that, right? He helped start the UFC sort of. So Dana White
using like his place in Atlantic City to give him like a venue?
Exactly.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. So that's what he does. One of the first, I think it was the first fight. They couldn't get a spot anywhere. Dana White in the UFC. So Trump comes along with the Taj Mahal. He says, "Hey, look here, fight it. Host it over here."
Hell yeah.
So that's where the first fight was. And then he hosts like a few after that, as he still had some trouble. And so he's been a big friend. Dana White loves him. He's been a big supporter, and so
I'm sure he's rubbed elbows with a lot of people in that field.
Dana White.
I mean, think about it. I mean, he's
my
been
God,
hosting,
yeah.
boxing matches and WWE.
Well, he wants to create.
For so
He's
long,
creating a boxing company. He's been trying to create it forever. Zuffa Boxing.
Okay.
You've probably seen it. It's probably going to take him like another year. He's close, but yeah, Dana White. Remember when freaking Tom Brady had to Make America Great Again? Had in his locker and got all that shit.
People
Dude, there's a lot of people who like him, especially in sports.
Yeah.
Who secretly like him more than they'd say. It's just like they're
running,
afraid.
When he was still running, back in 2015, I mean, he's like, I want to have, like sports figures on the campaign stump with me, but people like Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady.
Well, they all got
Bill
shit.
Belichick,
They got scared. They got shit on.
Well,
Yeah, Belichick likes him.
Something, they're business savvy enough to be like, I can't jump into that right now.
Which is
I got
sad though,
sponsorships,
because a lot of Hollywood Democrats love to go out and stump for
Yeah.
and it's like they don't get the same kind of flag. They don't get the same kind of shit.
Hillary had like Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, Jay-Z and
Right.
Beyonce were with her the night before the election.
Although Justin Bieber was offered to go sing at the
Isn't he
Republican
Canadian?
National. Yeah, at the Republican National. Well, I think now he's been living in America long enough.
Yeah,
That
he's a default American
Right.
now.
But he was. They asked him to go sing at the Republican National Convention. He wanted to. He was weighing it. He was about to go to, but then like Scooter Braun or his agent, people talked about it, which sucks.
Something like
But-
it's just
but there's some
business
Justin
savvy, that's
Bieber.
what it
Yeah,
is.
they would have hated him for like a minute, and then they would have.
It would've
Some
blown
people are so
over.
big, and Kanye, right? Of course.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think Kanye's become like a Jesus freak, and so Bieber too. He's become like a Jesus freak apparently. So the religious parties, obviously the Republican Party, or they're known as the religious,
Yes,
the
yes,
evangelicals, so
definitely.
on and so forth. So, although just to touch on Kanye real quick, one of the things, he got so much flack, obviously, for that, and love from the Republican side, but the Democrats hated him. But I think one of the reasons he kind of had that, it was sort of not a breakdown. He's got mental illness, right?
Yeah.
But he's come out and said it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I
he
can
put on
only
the
imagine
MAGA
some of
hat.
the shit that he deals with in his life. I mean, he's
Dude,
got.
well, you said you love reality TV. You probably watch the Kardashians. You watch the Kardashians ever?
I've seen clips of it, but like on YouTube in general, you see like paparazzi like going to his house at like 3 o'clock in the morning, like just trying to get him to like flip out because they know that they can get money for a tape of him going viral.
Someone
for 10
told a
seconds.
story
It's like,
about putting them in his trunk just to avoid paparazzi. He's like, "Yo, open up your trunk, put me in it, just to avoid." Yeah, no, but I was
I
going to
can only
say
imagine
the
that
whole
fucking
reason
scenario.
I think he really he was trying to find himself with the Make America Great. So, he doesn't like the PC culture, which a lot of other celebrities and people don't like. And even though they're not Trump supporters, they don't like the whole PC culture that's been involved. And I think that's really what he was trying to do. I don't think he's so much a Trump supporter as he really was just he hated all the PC stuff, and with the mental illness, he was getting a lot of shit. And so now he's become this kind of born again Christian for whatever. But
did you listen to any of Jesus is King?
I haven't really, no.
I was listening to it a couple of times, in the last few weeks at work. There's like 3 tracks on it that I really like, and then other than that, I'm kind of like, what am I listening to? Is it
like all rap? Is it gospel, or what's going on?
It's a lot of gospel, like the church choirs, in the background, and I'm like, something I give you a lot of respect for trying out something new, not trying to, keep with the same, topics that you were, working with on your other albums. You always got to change it up, find some fresh material, but I just wasn't into a lot of it. I mean, like I said, there was like 3 tracks that I liked, and then the rest of it I was kind of like, eh. But hey, I mean, he tried something new. He's going for something different, which good for him.
No, I like him now. I think he's funny as hell. He's crazy. But well, back to MMA real quick. So you heard it, Ronda Rousey. Did you see that she did an interview with Steve-O?
She said something like she considers herself the greatest of all time.
Yeah, she said she doesn't have to fight anymore to be considered the greatest of all time. Did you know that? She can get knocked out by Amanda Nunes and Holly Holm, and Amanda Nunes can go on a freaking tear and defend the title more times. Oh, look, I freaking love Ronda. I wish she came back. She's my girl. She's my number 1 of all time. But dude, come on, like you couldn't box. All you could do was judo, throw people around. And
I mean, she was really good at it.
Oh, she was fantastic. But once she had to fight people who had an all-round game, who could
strikers,
punch, it was over. It was over. And I mean, freaking Nunes took out Cyborg like she was nothing.
Yeah, and now Ronda's also lost to who was it, Becky Lynch in WWE, so she doesn't even have that title anymore.
I didn't watch her at all.
She went to WWE, and she was actually like the main event for WrestleMania.
Right.
Not this past year. I think it was 2 years ago, and I think she lost to Becky Lynch in the finals for that. But
sorry.
I honestly, I don't even know if she's still with WWE or not.
My friend was in the WWE for a little bit.
Was it?
His name is Colin Cassidy.
I'm not sure.
He was part of a group, him and this other guy, Enzo, and they even had like a tag phrase, SAWFT, SAWFT. He was like 6'8". They said he was 7 feet.
I'm gonna have to Google him.
Google
typical Vince McMahon shtick. This guy's 6'5". Bill him as 7'2".
Colin Cassidy. Here he is. Big Cass.
Big Cass.
Big Cass. He was in the WWE for a little bit.
I feel like I have seen this dude.
Probably.
Like
I saw him on WWE, when he was on a few times. But yeah, we went to high school together, grew up together. He doesn't speak to me anymore. He's too big for me now.
Yeah.
But until this podcast blows up,
that's right.
Then he's gonna have to. I'm gonna be his
role
boss.
reversal. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to be like, "Hey, man, you want to come on?"
Yeah. Oh my God! If I could, that'd be dope. I haven't seen him in like 10 years.
Hey, man, shoot him an email.
Sounds like he's going away party.
Oh,
but
shit.
yeah.
Where was he going away to? The WWE?
Yeah. They moved him like down to Tampa and stuff. I heard.
Oh, they're developmental.
Did you see Fighting with My Family? The movie that just came out like a year ago. It's based on a true story.
Actually, I know the movie that you're talking about. I didn't see it.
Yeah. I just watched it like 2 weeks ago. It was great. It was really good. Yeah. It's based on a true story. Some chick named Paige who was in WWE.
Yes.
Yeah. And
she actually had to retire also.
Right. She had so many. I just literally just watched her on like another thing on like YouTube, like she was on like Good Morning Britain or some crap.
I think she had like a neck injury that like she tried to come back from it, and then
right. She's still trying. She's still apparently trying.
There was a match that I remember seeing the highlights of where like she got hurt and like you could tell that like she was trying. She was like on the mat like crawling, trying to get up, and like even the ref like they have like the earpiece and like they can signal to the back like, okay, that's it. No more. Like, don't try to get up.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Something that's got to suck. I mean, that's what you're trying to do your whole life. And then at like 23, it's like you catch a neck injury. It's like, okay.
No, but for making a freaking movie out of her.
Yeah,
that's true, I think she did pretty well. Would you ever be in the WWE? Would you ever join it? Would you ever?
If I was built like that, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I used to be a champion in my trampoline league back in middle school. So
your trampoline league? Wow.
Yeah, I mean. Bunch of kids from the neighborhood.
What happens in the trampoline league?
Oh man, we had our own entrance musics and everything. What? We had title belts. Oh
this?
Yeah.
Wow.
We used to have wrestling matches on our trampoline. Oh yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Big time. Me, my brother, actually both my brothers, my friend Chris, Mike, Rob, Matt, Jimmy. I mean, we had a whole big, to do. I mean, that's what you did. You wrestled.
Wow. I like it. Yeah. Well, he was always obsessed with like wrestling. I would always go over his house and he had little wrestling figurines. I'm like, dude, these are freaking dolls. I really don't want to freaking play. All right, bro.
Dude, in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Dude. I was just watching that movie too, the mid 90s. Did you see that? I only watched like a few minutes, but it was spot on. Just like, you know, he's holding it. He's looking at the sneakers that were out at that time, like the magazines, the cassette, you know, the Walkmans. Remember the CD player?
Oh, yeah.
CD player. I remember when I got my first
yeah.
CD player, bro. It was like this yellow and black thing, and it was like it looked like the future. It was insane.
And they had those weird ass
orgasmic.
headphones, those plastic headphones where it's like it tucked into your ear.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. I
Dude,
remember
those
that.
were the 90s were the best, man.
They
I don't
really
care what
were.
anybody says.
I still remember when I was in high school, my friend's brother got like the original iPod. Remember that freaking
Yeah,
brick? Like,
yeah.
held like
Oh my
500
God.
songs.
Well, before I had the iPod, my father, like when MP3s were just when they were new,
Yeah.
I had gotten my father got me this MP3 player. It was like some little black weird looking thing. It was nothing compared to the iPod. Like he didn't really know about it
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, it held,
but he
held
just
20
wanted,
songs.
Right, exactly. He just wanted to get me. Yeah, he's like it holds 20 songs. He's like it's incredible.
Holds 1 gigabyte.
I think I put like 2 songs on it, and they were like both by U2 or something like that. I didn't even know how to use it. But yeah, then I finally upgraded to the iPod, I think.
Yeah.
And that was, dude, it was just revolution. The Sidekick, remember that? The Sidekick. The
Sidekick
Sidekick
3.
was a freaking. It was like if you were God if you had a Sidekick.
Yep. You used to hold it like that. The screen
Yeah,
used
and then
to
you would
flip
just flip
out
it.
on top.
Dude.
You had the whole keyboard.
All the girls in high school wanted to bang you if you had a Sidekick.
Oh,
it was,
yeah.
It was insane. Those were the days. There were also some pretty bad things.
They either wanted to
but-
bang you or you were the weed dealer in your high school. It was one or the other.
There were a couple of kids in my high school. Was like a real Catholic. It was a Catholic school.
Okay.
And there were just now you said it. There were a couple of kids who smoked weed in the bathroom and got caught and kicked out. I'm like, how dumb do you have to be?
Yeah, really. Like
And
you're just
they were like freshmen. I'm like, you haven't even been here in a week. You know, like, can you not smoke pot in the bathroom?
if you want to smoke weed, that's cool, man.
At least
But
go
it's like, why are you
outside.
gonna go like get yourself kicked out of school over it? Like you couldn't have
Idiotic,
waited
bro.
fucking
Idiotic.
6 hours till school was over that
Dude,
day.
they wanted to expel me because of my hair, because I put gel in my hair there every day. They were like, "You're gonna go to
they
the
had-
principal's office." They wanted to expel me. Take the
You
gel
hear
in my
about
hair.
that now. I don't know if the stories are true or not, but you hear about it where it's like, oh yeah, so and so won't get accepted to this score. They'll get expelled if they don't cut their dreadlocks. And I'm like,
Hey, that's
I
the
don't
way
know
it
if there's
was.
I don't
They're
know if there's
strict.
something
They're
in like the
strict.
dress code against it, but
Well, that's what it is. No, they're just very strict. It's like a prison, basically. Picture a prison with little kids, and that's what it basically is.
I mean, I remember my school when I was going to high school, we were not allowed to wear hats. That was a big thing. No hats allowed.
Well, no hats, Jesus, it's like a walk in the park for what I had.
That was like the biggest thing we had to deal with. No hats.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see
Like,
that. You never
okay.
know what might be lurking under there.
Well, if you're one of the people that we work with,
Oh, Jesus, don't get
you
me
never
started.
know what's gonna be lurking under there. We might just want to get him a hat. Like here, I didn't get you for Secret Santa, but I got this from somebody else. I think you should have it.
Oh, did you have any nicknames in high school?
J. Frank.
J. Frank. So,
Just
so
J.
I had
Frank.
several nicknames, and one of them you already know.
Was it Split?
Sex Truck.
Sex Truck.
Sex Truck
How'd you get that one?
So when I was a junior on the basketball team, the senior guys, I don't know if I was just so sexy. I don't know what exactly it was. Like, well, see, one of the things was this, I was fat when I was going into my freshman year of high school,
Okay.
and so as the years went on, I progressed and got thinner and thinner, and so
Got
like,
taller and taller.
yeah, a few inches taller. I was like 5'8", you know, a fat kid when I came in, and I grew to like about 6'2", like
Okay.
junior, and I got all the way down. Like senior, I was like really skinny, like 180, 175, something like that. But yeah, Sex Truck was what I was called by the older kids on the basketball team. Then I also had Big Rob, Big I. Some black kid called me Big I for Big Irish. But Sex Truck just kind of stuck. I guess
That's the one that stuck.
the Beast that was another one. But yeah, I played a few sports, and I shed all this weight, and finally like girls started to notice me by like junior year.
Nice.
But I had no freaking idea how to talk to them.
Yeah,
would-
that'll get you.
Dude, I mean, I would clam up. I was getting sweaty. I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't used to it.
Yeah, you got to break out of your comfort
Yeah,
zone.
and then
man.
college, forget about it. I mean, I got all these girls going to bars. It took me forever to finally like get some game, dude. I would get so nervous. There was this one chick, my freshman year of college, and I just totally effed up because she liked me apparently, but I had this creepy roommate, and I brought him out one night because I felt bad, and I guess we would talk about her from time to time, and so he goes behind my back and tells her that I like her, and so her two friends come up to me at like a party, and they're like, "Oh my God, you like her yet?" I'm like, and I should have said
This sounds like college.
I said, no, I don't like her. I only like her as a friend. I panicked. I totally freaked. I should have just, I should have said, no, yeah, of course I like her. Yeah, yeah. But of course, then that gets back to her. She thinks I don't like her anymore and ends up in the friend zone. But then one of her other friends ended up liking me. So, all works out for the best.
Little happy ending to that story.
Although,
I thought it was going to be another morbid topic for us on this podcast that we're trying to get over.
I should go a little deeper. The other friend, we're at a bar one night, just comes up to me and she's like, "Well, now that girl's out of the picture, I can hit on you." So we're at the bar, and she asked me to dance. So we danced like one song, and she's like, "Okay, you want to come back to my dorm?" It's like,
yes.
yeah, of course.
I sure do.
So we take the long, awkward walk back because it's so awkward. Because like the whole time you know what you're gonna do, right?
But you have to actually get to the location to do it.
It was a walk. I mean, it was like half a mile, and it's cool. And so the whole time I'm just thinking, I'm like, God, we get there, and I know what we're gonna do.
It's really not that long of a walk. It's half a mile, but it just seems so much longer.
But I've never really talked to this girl before too, so it's just awkward as hell. I'm just like, here, one dance, she invite me back to a place, and I'm like, I know what we're gonna do. So then we get there, and I realize she's a freak, okay? She opens the door, and she has all of these, like, signs. You know, like, on a hotel when you have, like, the do not disturb signs?
Yeah.
She has all these ones with, like, different, like, freaky writings on them for what she's going to do in there. And I don't even remember what it said, but it was, like, sexy time or, do not disturb because I'm,
We're going to fuck, so don't knock.
So that was the first thing I noticed. I'm like, oh, what have I got? This girl is prepared. Like, how many guys has she had rolling in here? Well, that's my first thought. And then she shuts the lights off. And I'm like, wait, it's pitch black. I can't even see my own face. I'm like stumbling around. I'm like trying to feel for
shit
things.
over.
Oh, is that a boob or is that a lamp? I can't even tell what's going on. Yeah. And I'm like, can we put the lights on? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Not that deep, of course. I would have had some real questions.
No, you can't.
This is Bruce.
We're not even going to touch that one.
Yeah. And so then she puts on the radio. She starts playing A Milli by Lil Wayne. So she's like, A Milli, A Milli, A Milli, A Milli, A Milli. And I'm like, you're really setting the mood here, sweetheart.
I can't even lie.
Yeah.
When I went, like, I don't know, 1920, I went to Europe on a trip, and I listened to the Carter 3 that whole entire time. So anything from that album, like, yes, that sounds fantastic.
And then to get a little bit more graphic, the first time I ever go south on a chick, all right? And let's just say I came right back up. Like I literally swooped down, and I whoop. No, it was awful. I was awful at it. It was awful. I just remember, like,
first time. It smells like fish.
Yes, exactly. And I remember just coming back up like, just spitting little hairs out of my mouth. Oh, God. Oh, thank God it was dark. She couldn't see me. And she thought I was, like, spitting on her or something. She's like, oh, yeah, I like that. And I'm like,
lubing it up.
Oh, no. Oh, it gets even crazier from there.
That sounds like a scene from like Don't Be a Menace.
Should I just go into that whole story right now?
No, I feel like I don't want to.
You're gonna stop me right there.
I don't want to hear the rest of this one. It started out promising, but it's like, okay, this is taking another morbid turn.
All right.
We're just gonna rename this the Morbid Podcast.
What were we talking about? No, nobody dies. Nobody dies.
Actually, that's a good point.
Well, let's go back to the Holocaust real quick. Well, actually, no, I did think of this one thing I wanted to say earlier. There was it was Anne Frank's like stepsister or something like that. I don't know what she was, but she was on Good Morning Britain like for the 75th anniversary.
Okay.
I know this is all over the place, but yeah, she was in Auschwitz.
Okay.
And she survived, and actually her father, who survived too, ended up marrying, I think, Anne Frank's mother, was it? I think so.
No, I'm pretty sure her entire family was killed in the Holocaust.
No,
I think
her cousin or something.
I think
something
maybe
like
her father survived. He was the one who
the
published
father survived.
Yeah, he published her her diary. So
I can't something like that. She ended up, I don't know. So she married someone in Anne Frank's family. Yeah. Because I know my history and I just said something really stupid. But yeah, she ends up marrying somebody in Anne Frank's family. But yeah, she remember you talked about the Russians, right? How they're trying to repaint their role in World War II.
Yeah.
But she talks about how when the Russians came and liberated Auschwitz, that it really wasn't the end. Like they weren't liberated. So she doesn't really celebrate the Liberation Day because now she's in the hands of the Russians. Now, of course, they weren't as bad nearly. They didn't put them in concentration camps, but they fed them, yada yada. But they were with them for a long time, and the Russians were cruel. So they had to travel with the army. They didn't really know were they going to be free, were they not going to be free. Then they were put in Eastern Germany. So So there was a lot more to it. Like when the Russians came, it wasn't like the Americans coming.
Yeah.
You know, you
they
didn't know what
weren't
you were gonna
exactly
get.
liberated.
They were
you were
pissed.
just you were still occupied, just by a different occupier.
Right. You know, and rightfully so. I mean, the Russians lost what, 20 million people roughly, like
More,
12 million
probably.
soldiers. Well, they now have estimates of the World War II being about 80 million people that were
I mean,
lost
they
in
lost
total
a
from starvation,
lot of
disease.
fucking people,
Could
the
you imagine? I
Russians.
can't even imagine the kind of damage and the way.
You know, just that mentality.
Not
like,
that much longer. All those cities are back to normal. Better than ever. Germany's better than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, all the buildings are new. You know what I'm saying? And
well,
you know,
basically, I mean, think about it. I mean, you had to almost rebuild entire cities. Like in London, where it was just like a lot of parts of the city were bombed, like East London, a lot of
Right.
parts of it
No,
were
not
like
nearly as
knocked out. I
bad.
mean,
It
you
wasn't
can
nearly as bad.
actually tell in the neighborhoods, like where you're moving from, like what was there, like, and they just had it throughout, like, you know, the last couple hundred years, and like what's brand new.
right.
was
There's a
built
lot
in
of
the
stuff
last,
on the
like,
water
50,
that's
60
it's
years.
brand new. Right. You
And
go to
it-
Germany, it's all freaking new.
Yeah, basically,
know?
because everything was leveled in
Right,
the war.
right.
I mean,
I went to Italy years ago. It's they're still living in the same buildings the Romans lived in. It's freaking insane.
yeah. Actually, it was one of the topics when
Dude.
when I went to Israel,
Yeah.
because there was somebody who was in a wheelchair, and you know, it's one of the it comes up where it's like everything here is so old they can't really retrofit everything to fit, you know, handicap access. I mean, but
Right.
you know, when you think about it, I mean,
Right.
stuff has been there for hundreds and
Right.
hundreds of
Dude,
years.
thousands,
I mean,
dude.
yeah,
I hate to shit on them, but
yeah,
it was the
yeah.
most like backwards. I'm like, am I in a third world country right now? First of all we did was like go to churches. So I like after day
Churches
3, I'm
and
like, I don't want to see
museums.
another freaking church as long as I live.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, they're still living in the same buildings freaking Caesar lived in. I'm like, this is insane. You know, everything has columns. You know, I couldn't believe how backwards they were. What the thing that shocked me the most was I couldn't believe how many non-Italians there were.
All
like
tourists.
you go through, tourists, but there's a lot of immigrants and Indians and Muslims who come up from North Africa and are living there. Rome was like, wherever I went, you know, it was like all blacks and Muslims. I couldn't believe, where are the Italian people? You know, there aren't that many of them, number one, to begin with. But the toilets with the hole in the ground,
The
you can't
bidets.
shit on a toilet. You got to shit in midair and watch that shit drop a mile and hear. I'm like, I swear to God, when I first went in, I'm like, what do I do? I couldn't figure out how to stand.
Doing
I'm
it
like, do I
like
just
back in the
stand
day when-
over it with my, you know, legs over in midair? It was insane,
Hey
bro.
man, back in ancient Rome, they actually used to just have like a community toilet where it's like literally just toilets lined up next to each
that's
other. It's like
basic. They
people
might
would
as well have
reuse
just
the
had that.
same piece of like toilet paper to wipe your ass. where it's like,
Dude, they might as well literally have. I don't even remember if they had toilet paper. I can't remember what I did
Just
afterwards.
use your hand, you'll
I
be
just
fine.
walked right back out. But yeah, dude, the train. When I tried to take the train there, we had bought train tickets to go from Rome to Naples or whatever.
okay.
And they just decided to go on strike that day. All the train workers. They're like, "Hey, I'm not working on no more. Hey, I'm gonna take a day off."
That happened to me when
No?
I was in I was in Venice. We went to go to one of these museums, and like we got to the front door, and it was just closed because we're on strike.
Yeah,
And then we wanted to go like back on the water taxis to back
Right.
to our hotel. It's like no, we actually went on strike in the last 10 minutes.
But that's what they do. Whenever they want to go and say,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go on strike.
like-
What are you gonna do?
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
you know.
But literally, they dropped us off at the museum. Like, let us off the taxi. Like, we went to get back on. 10 minutes later, they're like, "No, we're on strike."
First of all,
Like,
how much
wait,
are
what?
the gondolas? They cost like $1,000 a piece or something. I'm like,
I
you know
didn't
what?
ride on one of those.
We went at the worst time, 2008, right after the crash. So everything was twice as expensive. So the freaking train, we tried to go on the train. Thank God we got there like 2 hours early. They just decided to shuttle everybody on that day on the one train at noon. And
Just
so,
pack
yeah,
everyone.
so like there were like 3 people had like per spot, like because everybody had the same ticket for the same, you know, because like but different times.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, 3B and mine's for 10, yours is for 12, and so we all had just like mush onto this train. And if anybody didn't make it, they were screwed. It was insane. It was insane the way that they lived. It was they're like, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Hey, you know what the best is? Like, if you're traveling there in the summertime, they really, because everything is so old.
Yeah, it
they
wasn't
can't-
in the
they don't have air conditioning in a lot of the buildings and
dude,
hotels.
No,
so.
and that's why they eat outside all the time.
Yep.
You know,
so
and
you
you
run
can't
into
drink the
scenarios
water
where
there.
it's like
Everything's
yeah.
bottled. They're like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, just give me bring a water. And they're like, bottled. I'm like, no, it's tap water. They're like, we don't know to do it. You don't want to do it at tap. You know.
Trust me, I use the water in Venice to brush my teeth.
It
and
might
within
have
like a
had the
half hour, I could
coronavirus.
not be away from a bathroom. So
Yeah.
I believe that one.
And the food, I gotta say, I think the Italian food's better here in America.
You know something?
And I'm not the only one that
it's
says that.
so touristy over there in some places now. So like, if you're not going to spend the money to go to like a legit
Well, no, we
Italian
did.
restaurant,
Well, again, I should be a little more fair. It was about half and half.
Okay.
Some were just horrible.
Yeah.
And some were really, really good. Like, we basically just went by the Zagat book or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And so I remember one place was incredible. Some of the best we ever had. It was like, I think I had like chicken, some kind of chicken with mozzarella or something. My mother had like the best lasagna I ever had. I'll give it that. But most of the places, the sub was like shitty, burnt, hard. I'm like, this is garbage. Because they don't have the amount of money and resources that we have, so they don't have the amount of garments and stuff like that.
And they also don't keep like food as long. Like they're not going to have the same standards in terms.
And I
of,
know that
like,
they're known for all that, but I think a lot of it's bullshit. I know they're known for all that wine and cheese and yada. But did you know? Have you seen the 60 Minutes report that because the mafia is still so prevalent over there, a lot of the food is faked. You got to watch the 60 Minutes documentary.
You know, so, believe it or not, I was actually one of the people I was in Israel with. They were like an Asian studies major, and for whatever reason, it came up like the topic of sushi and wasabi. A lot of people don't actually know it's just horseradish with food coloring. It's like
Really?
wasabi is too damn
that.
expensive. Like so, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, even in Japan, it's
Well,
like
honey, a lot of honey is faked.
Really?
Because
How do you fake honey?
Well, I don't know exactly how you fake it, but they're running out of. They don't have the amount of honey that they used to, or they can't farm it as many because the bees have been dying forever.
Okay.
You've been hearing that one, but
well, it's a good thing because honey is actually the one food in the world that does not expire, never spoils.
Well, it's very expensive, and so it's
like,
considered.
They've actually like opened like tombs of like ancient pharaohs, and like they had honey stored in, and like it was still
Honey Nut Cheerios or
just
what?
honey. I mean,
Just honey?
I bet you they wish it was Honey Nut Cheerios,
Right.
but just regular ass.
No, but
honey.
it's faked. A lot of it's faked. You got to be careful. But watch the 60 Minutes report. It's incredible because the Sicilian mafia over there in particular is really powerful still over there.
Okay.
They basically run all of Sicily, and so they fake a lot of the food, almost all the fake in the wine too. And so actually in Italy they set up a special task force to taste the wine. Just these people just taste wine, and they're like FBI. And they taste the wine. They have like their little cubicles. They have like testing stuff. They and they know how
and they can actually tell the difference between like Italian and like non-Italian
wine. Yeah, and so not just wine too, but all sorts of things. Actually, one of the most prevalent faked things is olive oil. 90% of all olive oil is fake.
Really?
Yes, 90%. So basically, if you buy Italian olive oil, it's fake. And again, what I mean by fake, does that mean there's no olive oil in there at all? No, but they're adding other ingredients. It's like cocaine.
Yeah,
when
they're
you got
cutting it with something.
pure. Yeah, you're cutting it on a lot of occasions. So
shit,
I think you got to buy like Greek or Spanish olive oil, and then even that can be fake too.
I read that like extra virgin olive oil is like one of the
It's supposed to be
healthiest
good for you,
fats
right.
that like you
It's
can
very
actually
right.
take in.
But yeah, watch the 60 Minutes. It's incredible. Like they fake, I don't know, they fake like tomatoes. They fake foods I don't even know you could fake. They fake wine. They fake everything because the Sicilian mafia is very powerful over there. They're still powerful in the southern part of Italy, and the northern part of Italy they don't. Again, the northern part of Italy is more sophisticated than the southern part. There's always kind of been that rift.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch this piece. It's incredible. I didn't know you could fake the kind of things that they're faking.
They're just artificially
insane.
creating all this shit.
It's insane because they basically run all of Sicily still. Like they're very very powerful over there.
I would bet even in America they're probably still pretty powerful and like
not nearly like what they.
No. But like I've heard that like they still have a nice foothold and like
they exist
all the
in pockets.
All of like the unions in terms of like the building trades in the city. It's like. Whatever the cost of the building, it's like
I'm just a garbage man. I'm just the sanitation.
Hey,
But
I think they get like I think it's like actually believe it or not, I was listening to like I think it was Joe Rogan's podcast and fuck who did he have on? He had somebody who
don't mention him. He's my competition.
Oh shit, that's right.
Did you watch The Irishman?
No, actually.
Don't.
I actually went and bought a Roku just so that I can wind up watching it on Netflix, but
it's good. It's good, but it's 3.5 hours, and I don't know if it's worth it. It's good. It's worth it, but it's not. You know what I mean?
It actually came out like right the same week that I left for Israel, so that's why I never even got it. I was like, I was gonna go see it on Christmas Day, but
what was really good? I'm trying to remember what was really good. I just saw 1917. That's really
actually,
good.
How was that?
No, that was really good.
Oh, you just
really
said it was
good.
really good.
Yeah.
I had actually heard that it's like one long continuous take the entire movie.
Dude, it's insane how they made it. I was something else. Amanda's was he's the guy that directed it. He did Skyfall, which I hated. It was beautifully shot, but it was a terrible movie. Most of the James Bond movies are not good. There's not good dialogue in them. The characters are underdeveloped. And now the chicks aren't even hot.
They don't make them like they used to.
Hottest Bond girl ever, Denise Richards. You ever see her in the Pierce Brosnan one?
Yeah,
Oh, mama.
I know the one you're talking about.
Her back in the day.
Although Halle Berry
Sweet
was
Jesus.
fucking
Yes.
gorgeous, too.
No,
that was like Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry in her prime, even though she's still like She's like 50-something years old.
I didn't like the short hair. I like it with longer hair. She still looks like a dime piece. You see her in John Wick 3?
Dude, have you seen her freaking abs? You can eat like maple syrup off those things. You can eat a steak off those fucking things.
No, yeah. Did you see John Wick 3?
No.
Oh, that's sick too. Keanu Reeves has had a freaking reemergence.
Yeah, he's like the one person in Hollywood that everyone seems to love now. It's like he's such a nice guy.
Is he? He's born in like Lebanon or something like that.
I don't know, but like every news story that I see about Keanu Reeves, it's like always something positive, like somebody complimenting him. Like, you know how you read about some people and it's like just a negative story.
Yeah,
you know,
I think he's a nice guy.
Like everything I read about him is just like
you never see him anywhere. You don't see him like at the Oscars or this or that. You don't see him out. Like I feel like you never see him. He's like a ghost. Is he real? I feel like there's this myth around Keanu Reeves.
I know he's dating like an older woman.
Is
but
he?
Like,
They're
he seems like he's a happy guy. So
they're making a
good for him.
Matrix 4.
Are they?
It's coming out.
What's it gonna be about? Didn't he like?
I have no idea.
Didn't he like?
I only saw the first one.
I'm pretty sure in the third one, like they wind up making peace with the machines. So I guess they're going back to war now.
You know, they make sequels and remake everything.
We're going back to war with the machines.
I still haven't seen the new Terminator one.
I haven't seen that either.
But I would like to see that. I don't know. I want to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, me too.
Another
one that I haven't
seen. I hear
seen.
that's great. What else? Anything else?
Shit. What else came out?
What else can we talk about? Anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, throw something out there. What do you got?
Let me think. What's your well, we didn't really talk about Kobe, but I feel like people have talked about Kobe. You know?
Everybody's done Kobe. It's like
just so sad.
You know, that's actually one topic where I feel like everybody's on the same page. It doesn't matter like which aspect of society you come from. Everyone's kind of just like, that's really, really, really freaking sad.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we can leave that out.
We could talk
aliens. Talk about aliens.
We could talk about aliens.
What do you think about? Do you think robots are going to take over the world?
I mean, they got a shot.
They got a shot. What do you think of the Space Force? Trump created a Space Force. I think that's pretty freaking dope.
Did you see the uniforms for the Space Force, though?
No, I saw the logo.
It's like regular-ass camouflage. And I'm like, I guess so that way they can blend in with all the plants in space. Like, that makes no sense at all.
Well, what I found funny is they only donated $50 million or something to the Space Force.
Yeah, it was like
far.
a very token.
Meanwhile, the budget of the military is $700 billion.
Well, I know a lot of like the generals in the Air Force actually didn't want the creation of a Space Force because they thought it was going to divert resources away from something that's really important.
Is that what they said? Because the dichotomy is that I feel like they're always saying also we have too much money. Remember you heard reports of tanks sitting like unused and
believe it or not, there's a big problem in not only just the Air Force, but in terms of the Navy and in aspects of the Army too, where a lot of situations we don't have enough of the right spare parts to keep like repairing our jets. So in a good number of scenarios, I've read that in certain numbers, like there's like 1/3 of the F-16s in like the U.S. Air Force are not fit to fly. Like half of like the F-15s are not fit to fly. Like the F/A-18, same thing. Like, and they're actually having to cannibalize like other aircraft that like are not being used to get like a lot of the parts that they need. Where it's so. A lot of people think that we need a hard power budget in terms of the military, where it's like scaling back on a little bit of R&D.
I'm in favor of. I mean, I don't think we need that kind of money, especially not when we have other things where we need to, education. So, although we're spending a ton of money on those things too, but we'd still, if we even slash it in half, $350 million, we'd still be spending more money in the military than like those same like 6 countries. Although
I mean,
the threat is
Chinese
China.
are now starting to spend upwards of like 150 billion.
And
but that's what they
1.3 billion people living over there, and they're growing every day, and that's our threat. But like you said, I think there's a lot of things we can't even freaking maintain.
Yeah.
I
mean, something any way you want to look at it, the Chinese, the logistics.
They're taking over. They're taking over.
I mean, it's funny because a lot of people don't know they actually import more products than they export nowadays because in order to sustain a country that has 1.3 billion people, you need to keep bringing in all the food, all the hygiene products, all the finished goods.
Well, they've stopped taking our trash.
Maybe
the coronavirus will do some damage over there.
They basically have made so many investments in the African continent where like
that's a big thing because they're creating this new Silk Road.
But
basically,
not even part of that. I mean, they're having that is a long-term goal of theirs. But like they're bringing back so much in terms of just like energy.
They're
food.
taking everything over there. And now in Mexico, there's apparently like a big reserve of lithium. and they want to get in over there. So they're in Mexico too.
I know that
they're everywhere.
They're making investments in
And they're
Jamaica too, in the
ruthless.
Caribbean.
They're ruthless. See, they don't care. Like they just don't care. They're just gonna do whatever they want to do. They'll turn the Mexicans to blacks. They'll take them as slaves and make them do it. They don't care. They don't care about their own people, as you've seen with the coronavirus. They just don't care. So they are our biggest threat by far. I mean, we're going to war with them eventually. I'm telling you right now.
You know something? I feel like we've already reached a situation of MAD where it's like mutually assured destructive defense, where it's like even not through nuclear or like biological means, it's like even through conventional arms, it's like things will escalate so quickly. It's like you kill us, we'll kill you back. So let's just all live.
It's gonna be like just like a software fight. They're gonna be like, we're gonna shut your lights off, and you're gonna shut our lights off, and we'll shut your computers off, and you know, it's gonna be like, it's gonna be a cyber fight.
Yeah.
You know, but they've been stealing our technology forever. I don't know how they get away with this stuff.
They've been doing that to everyone.
I'd be shouting it from the rooftop if I was Trump. I'd be like calling them out. I'd be like, dude, you need to pay us back.
That was one area where like I was really hoping Trump was going to go like
he's been hard on it, but he doesn't know what to do. You know, he just goes tariffs. Not that I don't think anybody really knows what to do because it's so freaking big. Nobody wants to stand up to them. I mean, you saw with the NBA. Sorry, you saw with the NBA thing. When the guy, Daryl Morey said that we support Hong Kong, and then everybody criticized him and LeBron. And every NBA person was like,
"Well, I mean, for them, they've got
China.
They pay me lots and lots of money. I make a lot of revenue.
China doing no wrong. China doing no wrong."
And you know what's crazy? Actually, they actually make a good amount of money from the Japanese market too. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't know that.
Sure, and 60 Minutes just did a piece on Japan because they got the Olympics coming up, Tokyo. And they did a big piece on the Fukushima fallout from the nuclear reactor over there.
Okay.
And basically, the 60 Minutes investigation concluded that it's still completely unsafe. There's radiation everywhere, and it was a sort of a Chernobyl situation all over again. What they did basically was the Japanese government was like, "Look, we're having the games here," and it's been almost 10 years now since this happened.
Yeah.
They just took all their own people. And they basically just had them go and clean everything up. Like they're like, hey, you're just gonna go out there where all the radiation is. You're gonna clean up, and we're not gonna give you any gear, and we don't really care about your life.
Just get on out there and do it.
And and that's basically what happened. So 60 Minutes Sports, no, not 60 Minutes. Real Time with Brian Gumbel.
Okay.
Yeah, Real Sports. He did it. And but they're saying, of course they're like, oh, there's nothing to see here. Games are gonna go on. It's fine.
Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
There's little radiation. It's fine. They actually increased the amount. There's like a standard throughout the world of sort of like one. I forget the exact metric but they basically raised it like 20 times the acceptable amount of radiation. And they're like, hey, now the accepted standard is actually 20 times what it used to be. Yeah, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. That's the kind of things that go on in these countries.
Yep. Well, I mean, I don't know if we have enough time to get into it, but have you actually heard about the background situations with like the construction going on in Qatar for the next World Cup that's coming up?
Oh yeah, I saw that report too.
They're like bringing in like slave labor, like you have to surrender your passport, so you can't even like leave.
Get built.
There was literally, I forgot which it was either Fox or CBS or ABC. They sent like an anchor over there from their sports news team. And they're asking pointed questions to one of these oil sheiks, and the guy just gets up. He's like, "That's it. Interview's over."
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's how it works. So you don't criticize us, or we'll throw you out.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure having you in, and that's all our time.
Thank you very much.
Us.
This really was awesome. Good man.